In a world overrun by magic, demonic caves have become a plague, spawning countless monsters. But in the face of an SSS-class demon king like Belphegor, humanity has its own answer. The elite divine core. Our boy, Bai Yi, is the leader of this legendary squad, and he's been fighting this war for a solid 10 years. The demon king unleashes a tidal wave of elemental beasts, but the team is unfazed. With a single command from Bai Yi, the divine core's operation begins, charging straight into the belly of the beast. This is their 100th high-level demonic cave, and the L-class lightning assassin, Ling Yue, is ready to get her hands dirty. She confirms to her captain that this has been officially designated as an L-class purge operation, no holding back. The team's L-class cloud mage, Han Xiaoling, immediately reshapes the battlefield, unleashing a world of glaciers to lock the enemy down. As the grunts are frozen solid, another member prepares a devastating strike from above, glowing with immense power. It's the support, Lucian, using his gravity magic to massively boost his teammates' attack, turning a simple sword drop into a world-ending meteor. The gravity-infused sword slams down, unleashing a cataclysmic explosion that rips the earth apart. Pillars of raw energy erupt from the ground, signaling a direct hit on the Demon King. But that was just the opening act. Our boy Bai Yi steps forward, his eyes glowing with lethal intent. He unleashes his own power, a final, blinding flash that completely vaporizes the target. And his class is finally revealed, Divine Core Commander Bai Yi, an L-class nuclear saint. With the SSS-class demon, King Belphegor confirmed eliminated, the whole squad regroups on the scorched battlefield. One of the brawlers in the group just scoffs, complaining that the fight was over way too quickly to be any fun. Lucian, ever the analyst, points out that this was a top-rated mission that was supposed to push them to their limits. He turns to his commander, asking if he also thinks this victory feels a little too easy. Bai Yi silently agrees. The intel mentioned a special demon with 5 elements and a hidden skill, but they saw none of it. Just as the team is questioning their easy win, the brawler gets the captain's attention. She gets uncomfortably close, asking if he's treating everyone to a feast or if it's a private date. She even whispers the suggestion right in his ear, making our boy completely lose his cool. Bai Yi shoves her away, flustered, and announces they'll all meet at the usual spot in the holy capital. She just smirks, calling it another failed ambush and teasing him for being clueless with women. But the lighthearted moment is cut short as Bai Yi suddenly stops, sensing something is off. He looks back at the battlefield, realizing the guy who was supposed to handle cleanup never followed them. The others just laugh it off, saying he's always the slowest and the best at slacking off. But they're dead wrong. The so-called slacker is watching them from a cliff above. He raises his hand, activating a purge operation as a sinister green energy begins to swirl. The so-called slacker reveals his true colors with a sinister, chilling grin. With a snap of his fingers, he gives the command, and the purge operation commences. In a flash, the entire team is brutally impaled, caught completely off guard by the ambush. Bai Yi, the brawler, and Lucian can only watch, their faces a mask of pure shock. The team's scholar is the first to fall, bleeding out on the ground amidst his scattered research. As Bai Yi seethes, the traitor's voice rings out, claiming this is a true mission from God. Our boy tries to draw his sword, but his body is completely frozen, refusing to obey. The traitor reveals his disgusting plan. He's been lacing their breakfast with paralytic powder for a month. He then unleashes his divine skill, flower, forbidden vines, causing massive roots to erupt. His one and only goal, he declares, is to eliminate the strongest of them all. The traitor sneers that this level of betrayal required absolute preparation, as his vines render them unconscious and defenseless. He declares this a holy decree from God himself, an L-class purge operation meant just for them. Bai Yi can only watch in horror as Ling Yue and Lucian are crushed by the tightening vines. The roots then violently fling his helpless teammates through the air like trash. Our boy is frozen in place, splattered with the blood of his own comrades. The traitor's eyes are cold and empty, showing not a shred of remorse for his actions. In the next instant, Ling Yue is brutally impaled, blood pouring from her mouth. The entire squad is skewered and held aloft, a grotesque display for the traitor, as Bai Yi whispers in disbelief. His shock finally shatters, replaced by pure rage as he screams, demanding to know why. He roars that the Divine Core never broke any rules, questioning which god would authorize this slaughter. He screams with everything he has, demanding to know what right they have to do this to his squad. The traitor simply calls him an old friend, his voice dripping with condescending pity. He mocks Bai Yi for being so naive, as glowing green vines erupt and ensnare our boy completely. Before Bai Yi can even react, the vines launch him violently through the air. The traitor's voice echoes, musing that when a god decides to kill you, there's no need for a reason. a thought that ends as Bai Yi is brutally impaled on a waiting blade. Turns out, another one of his comrades was lying in wait, a swordsman ready to deliver the final blow. Coughing up blood, Bai Yi can only ask if their 10 years as a family meant absolutely nothing. The traitor scoffs at the idea of comrades, asking if Bai Yi still doesn't get why he was chosen for this. The horrifying truth finally dawns on Bai Yi, as the traitor reveals a god has been moving these pieces from their very first meeting. The traitor coldly states that Bai Yi and the others were nothing more than pawns from the very beginning. His fellow swordsman chimes in, revealing his only purpose was to gain our boy's complete trust for this exact moment. The gardener scoffs, admitting that having to act the part of a friend for so long was an utterly disgusting task. He leans in close, telling Bai Yi that the entire charade made him sick to his stomach. With a final, brutal motion, the gardener ends the conversation and our boy's life. A quick flash reveals the rest of his team, all slaughtered, with a mission report confirming the purge is complete. Bai Yi's world shatters as a final, fatal blow pierces straight through his head. His body lies motionless on the cold ground, a testament to the absolute betrayal he just suffered. But as his consciousness fades into nothing, a mysterious voice echoes from the void, offering him a deal. Suddenly, our boy finds himself bound in chains in a dark dimension, completely dumbfounded as to where he is. A voice cuts through the darkness, and our boy realizes he's not in the void, but bound by ethereal chains. The owner of the voice appears, a smug-looking man in a suit, greeting him with a chilling familiarity. Bai Yi's eyes widen in pure disbelief. He knows this man, and he's supposed to be dead. He spits out the name of his old nemesis, Belphegor, who just scoffs that an SSS-class Demon King doesn't go down that easily. Turns out, this entire dimension is Belphegor's sole domain, a kingdom built from his very life force. Cutting through the chatter, Bai Yi demands to know what he wants, and Belphegor grins, sensing their hatred is cut from the same cloth. The Demon King proposes a transaction, revealing his ultimate hidden skill: life regression. He offers to send Bai Yi back in time, giving him a chance to undo the betrayal and save everyone he lost. Leaning in close, the devil makes his pitch, asking if our boy is interested in a second chance. A memory of his fallen comrade flashes through Bai Yi's mind, the pain of her loss fueling his resolve. The faces of his friends flash before his eyes, their innocent smiles twisting the knife in his gut. He remembers his whole squad, humanity's strongest, a time when they stood united against the world. Then comes the betrayal, the chilling grin of the traitor who brought it all crashing down. A brutal montage plays in his mind, his comrades, his family, all cut down in a storm of violence. Snapping back to the present, Bai Yi's rage boils over. He vows to kill the man responsible for it all. He then declares he'll also destroy the so-called gods who were pulling the strings from their high seats. A wicked grin spreads across Belphegor's face, clearly satisfied with our boy's burning hatred. The Demon King says that's the answer he was looking for and decides to throw in an extra gift. He offers up a pulsating, demonic heart, calling it a little welcoming present to seal their new contract. Bai Yi takes the heart, but he's no fool. He demands to know what this power is truly going to cost him. With a sinister grin, Belphegor explains the cost is simple: his current, pathetic life. Suddenly, Bai Yi's consciousness is pulled back as a distant voice calls his name, telling him to wake up. A woman's sharp voice cuts through the haze, yelling for him to get on his feet in what looks like a classroom. Our boy's eyes fly open in disbelief. The Demon King wasn't lying, he really came back. He stares down at his own hands, no longer the calloused limbs of a seasoned warrior, but those of a teenager. The realization hits him like a truck he's been sent back to the time before he even awakened his powers. His teacher, a woman he hasn't seen in years, is absolutely fuming, scolding him for napping before the awakening ceremony. Dumbfounded, he looks up at Teacher Huang, a ghost from a past he thought was long gone. It all clicks into place. He's not just dreaming. He's actually returned to his middle school days. As he gets to his feet, he understands this was Belphegor's power, a complete rebirth into his past self. He looks around the classroom, his mind still reeling from the fact that this impossible situation is actually real. Our boy stands, a bittersweet feeling washing over him, as he sees classmates he hasn't laid eyes on in nearly 20 years. Teacher Huang slams her foot on a desk, her voice cutting through the chatter as she demands everyone's complete attention. She begins her lecture on the 5 core elemental powers of the world: lightning, flower, cloud, nuclear, and stellar. Bai Yi listens intently, already knowing the fundamental rule that every awakened person can only ever possess one element. To demonstrate, she proudly flexes her own power, manifesting the rare cloud element as a shimmering ice crystal. She explains these elements are further classified into 3 roles: combat, support, and special, which combine to form countless professions. Teacher Huang even hypes up the school's strongest team, a legendary lineup of 4 different elemental masters, She tells the students they're already elites among millions just for having the potential to awaken their powers. But the real challenge starts now, as their future professions will be ranked from the trash tier dust to the godlike celestial. Teacher Huang drives the point home, telling them that each and every one of them is on the cusp of their destiny. The pressure is immense. She reminds them they only get one single chance to awaken their power. She declares that what happens this afternoon will determine their entire future status in this brutal world. The scene shifts to our boy, Bai Yi, who's already seen this song and dance before. He's walking through the school grounds, lost in thought, finding the whole situation deeply nostalgic. Turns out, this is the very same place where he first awakened his own legendary powers. His trip down memory lane is cut short when he sees a poor four-eyed kid getting tossed aside. Bai Yi just scoffs, completely unimpressed by the trash-tier bullies picking on the weak. The lead punk sneers at the fallen student, calling him useless for relying on an artificial awakening. He then grinds his foot on the kid's hand, daring Bai Yi for blocking his path and acting tough before he's even awakened. The punk, Hong Changsheng, gloats that with his rare red-tier awakening, everyone else is just an insect to him. The terrified student immediately apologizes and hands over his money, which seems to satisfy the bully for a moment. But our boy Bai Yi is watching from a distance, and a flicker of recognition crosses his face. This punk was a problem in his past life too. He muses that some people are just cut from a different cloth, always looking for trouble as he steps forward. Suddenly, a sharp voice cuts through the tension, telling Hong Changsheng, "That's enough." It's Teacher Huang, and she is absolutely livid, reminding him that this is a school, not some back alley shakedown. Hong Changsheng just smirks at her, casually flicking the cash he just stole. He tries to play the victim, claiming the nerdy kid was the one who bumped into his crew. So isn't it only fair, he argues, that he compensates them with some bubble tea money? Leaning in close, he asks if she wants to play hero, adding that if she wasn't so hot, he'd have used his connections to get her fired ages ago. Hong Changsheng just laughs it off, telling his crew they'll give the teacher face for now and back off. But as he turns to leave, his eyes lock onto Bai Yi, who's been watching the whole pathetic display. The punk grabs our boy's shoulder, demanding to know what he's staring at. Bai Yi just shoves his hand away, and the bully, dumbfounded for a second, decides to leave, promising to come back and laugh at the weaklings later. With the trash gone, Bai Yi apologizes to Teacher Huang, but she knows it wasn't his fault as she comforts the nerdy kid. A memory flashes through Bai Yi's mind. Teacher Huang always seemed tough, but she was the one who helped him the most after his awakening. Just then, a voice calls out, announcing that it's finally their class turn for the awakening chamber. As they walk, Teacher Huang gives them a final warning. Stay completely calm during the process to avoid any injuries. Our boy listens, but his mind is already elsewhere, thinking about the two different awakening methods that exist in this world. The first type, he recalls, is a natural awakening, the kind that lucky, trash-tier punks like Hong Changsheng get. This natural method, he muses, usually happens to those with strong bodies or natural talent, triggered by extreme emotional stress. The second type, however, is the one he's about to face, the awakening chamber. It's an artificial method, the culmination of countless scientists' work, designed to force an awakening. Inside, the chamber violently stimulates a person's emotions and adrenaline, pushing them to their absolute limit. This process forcibly unlocks their latent potential, manifesting their hidden powers. The problem is, you only get one shot, and the result is completely random, locking you into a profession for life. Just then, a student stumbles out, ecstatic that he managed to get a blue-tier ember profession, and Teacher Huang tells him to go rest. Bai Yi watches on, knowing this is why the awakening is called life's only reset button, a single moment that defines your future. The newly awakened student smirks at our boy, smugly telling him that he's up next. Teacher Huang cuts in, grabbing Bai Yi's attention with a stern warning to focus and not slack off like he does in class. Bai Yi calmly tells his teacher he knows, but his mind is already light years ahead of her lecture. He remembers his past life, where he awakened as a trash-tier E-rank nuclear warrior, leading to endless bullying. It wasn't until he reached the pinnacle of S-rank that he finally unlocked his true, rare potential. Stepping into the chamber, he wonders what profession he'll get this time. Certain he at least has the nuclear element. But as the awakening begins, he feels a strange pressure building, something different from before. A cold sweat drips down his face as his body starts reacting violently to the process. Suddenly, a system notification pops up. Dumbfounded, he sees it has detected not one, but 5 elements within him. An unbearable heat surges through his body as he struggles to understand what's happening. His eyes widen in shock as a new message declares the infinite awakening system has been activated. A massive screen appears before him, revealing he possesses 5 elemental types and can choose any class he wants. The system explains that once he accumulates enough power for an element, he can get a whole new class. Our boy is completely dumbfounded, trying to wrap his head around elemental accumulation. He realizes this means he's not just picking one class, he can literally collect them in the future. The system then shows him the insane range of possibilities, from trash tier all the way up to a legendary special quality class. Suddenly, the Demon King Belphegor appears in his soul, revealing he's the one giving our boy this final push. Bai Yi clutches his chest as the raw power of the 5 elements floods his body, a gift from his past life nemesis. He sees visions of his future potential, a master of countless fighting styles thanks to his infinite awakenings. The system warns him that after this first choice, all his elemental bars will reset to 0. With a smirk, Bai Yi understands the stakes. This first step has to be perfect. Meanwhile, outside the awakening room, a couple of other students are getting annoyed, wondering what's taking him so long. The door slides open, and our boy, Bai Yi, finally steps out, looking cool as ever. His teacher, Huang, rushes over, eagerly asking what incredible class he awakened. But Bai Yi puts on a somber face, telling her he's sorry to be such a disappointment. With a wicked grin, he reveals he awakened as a nucleo warrior, the absolute worst of the green quality classes. The hope instantly drains from teacher Huang's face. She was clearly expecting a prodigy. Still, she tries to cheer him up, insisting that even low rankers can become legends if they don't give up. Bai Yi just plays along with the pity party, telling her she doesn't have to try and comfort him. She pats his shoulder, telling him to get some rest, completely buying his trash tier act. Internally, though, our boy is bursting with laughter, finding her misplaced sympathy absolutely hilarious. Just then, the local bully Hong Changsheng shows up, mocking the teacher's work-hard speech. Bai Yi just scoffs internally at her useless, toxic positivity. The bully tells the teacher she knows better than to spout such nonsense. He and his goons laugh, declaring that reality isn't some feel-good story. Getting right in Bai Yi's face, he spells it out. Being dust rank means you're absolute trash. He sneers that the gods only choose the strong, leaving the weak to be humiliated. But the mention of God strikes a nerve with Bai Yi, whose eyes flash with a hidden fire. Teacher Huang steps in, demanding to know why he's here, but he just grins and reminds her of the new seating rule for dust ranks. Our boy plays dumb and asks why that is, forcing the teacher to confront the unfair system. The bully explains that this is just how society works. No power, no background, no future. He lays out the brutal truth. The strong get all the resources, while the weak are doomed to be bottom feeders from the start. Hong Changsheng mocks the very idea of a dust rank changing their fate, asking if anyone actually believes that garbage. Teacher Huang adds to the bleak outlook, stating that one's future is decided at birth, and this academy is just a microcosm of that truth. He then gets right in her face, taunting her for being a glimmer rank and nothing more than a useless salaried worker. Turning back to Bai Yi, he says dust ranks should just go home and stop wasting the government's resources. But before he can finish his tirade, a hand suddenly clamps down hard on his drink. In a flash, our boy smashes the entire cup right into the bully's face, leaving him completely stunned. The sticky liquid drips down Hong Changsheng's face as the shock begins to wear off. He stumbles back in a rage, demanding to know what the hell Bai Yi thinks he's doing. Bai Yi calmly wipes his hand on his uniform, stating coldly that he just doesn't like listening to him talk. Instead of being intimidated, the bully just lets out a maniacal laugh, absolutely furious and ready for a fight. Enraged, Hong Changsheng screams and throws a punch, his fist crackling with purple energy. But our boy reacts in a flash, shoving the nerdy student he was bullying out of the way. The bully unleashes his Star Thorn Strike, sneering that this trash tier is courting death. Bai Yi's golden eyes just narrow, completely unfazed by the incoming E-rank attack. He materializes a golden blade out of thin air, effortlessly blocking the strike. Hong Changsheng's smug grin instantly vanishes, replaced by pure, unadulterated shock. He can't comprehend how a supposed dust rank could possibly stop his signature move. With a simple flick of his wrist, Bai Yi parries the blow, completely shattering his stance. Our boy just gives him a cold, dead stare, looking utterly unimpressed. A wave of golden energy erupts, sending the bully tumbling across the pavement like trash. The bully and his entire crew are left scattered on the ground, and even the teacher is on her knees in shock. Hong Changsheng coughs up a mouthful of blood, the impact rattling his entire body. His mind is completely broken, unable to process how a dust rank could possess such overwhelming power. All he can think is what, as he stares at our boy standing there, radiating a calm, golden aura. Bai Yi just stands there, unfazed, while the entire area is in an uproar over what just happened. The onlookers are completely losing their minds, shouting in confusion about how he pulled that off. Bai Yi calmly explains that he chose this nucleo warrior class himself, a path that grants him a basic light sword. He then smirks, adding that he's simply used to this kind of power. But the bully's ego is too big to accept defeat. He staggers up, laughing like a madman and claiming it was just a lucky dodge. He roars that he's a rare abyss rank, a completely different breed from trash-tier nobodies like Bai Yi. But from the sidelines, Teacher Huang knows that what just happened was absolutely not luck. Her eyes widen in shock as she realizes he used a top-tier movement skill exclusive to the warrior class. Turns out, our boy executed a perfect parry, a high-level technique that requires impossible timing to nullify an attack. She's completely baffled, wondering how a rookie on his first day could possibly pull off such a veteran move. Meanwhile, the bully is done talking, summoning his Astro Assassin bayonet and asking our boy if he's prepared to die. He screams that he's going to make this piece of trash crawl in front of everyone. Bai Yi just smirks, coolly stating that of course he has his reasons for choosing this supposedly weakest class. He warns the fool that judging someone's future by their birth is a grave mistake he's about to regret for years. The two square off, their auras flaring as the onlookers realize a real fight is about to go down. The other students start to panic, remembering that using awakened powers for private brawls is strictly forbidden by the school. The onlookers know this is a death sentence. Hong Changsheng's family is powerful, while our boy Bai Yi has absolutely nothing. The nerdy kid starts freaking out, realizing that if Bai Yi fights back, he's getting expelled for sure. Teacher Huang looks on with deep concern, knowing this is a trap designed to ruin Bai Yi's future. She quickly steps between them, trying to remind everyone that they're supposed to be comrades who just awakened together. But Hong Changsheng is having none of it, questioning if she's serious after this piece of trash provoked him in front of everyone. He declares that even begging won't save Bai Yi now. He's going to teach him the insurmountable difference between the chosen and a loser. The sheer, unadulterated rage on his face shows he's dead serious about crippling our boy. Teacher Huang thinks to herself that he's not wrong. The huge gap in power comes from the difference in attribute bonuses. A quick scan reveals Bai Yi's class is Dust Rank, the lowest tier, which gives a 100% bonus, meaning no bonus at all. She knows that a Glimmer rank gets a 150% boost, making Bai Yi's starting point seem utterly hopeless. And it's even worse than she thought. Hong Changsheng's Abyss rank gives him a staggering 200% attribute bonus. From the moment of awakening, his base stats are double that of a Dust rank, like our boy, a gap that should be impossible to close. Bai Yi's nerdy friend can only watch in horror, realizing it's completely over. Bai Yi is outmatched in power and background. He facepalms, wondering why Bai Yi would ever provoke someone so much stronger, even if the guy is absolute trash. His mind flashes back to his own philosophy for survival. You have to learn to avoid the garbage of society. But when you can't avoid them, as he learned the hard way, you have to swallow every last drop of humiliation to get by. He concludes that a direct fight is the most foolish choice, because only those who bend can endure. Back in reality, Hong Changsheng activates his ferocity skill, sneering that all that awaits Bai Yi is even greater humiliation. Teacher Huang can only scream in desperation for Bai Yi to watch out as the killing blow comes flying. Our boy knows a direct parry is a fool's game. Hong's attack is too strong and would drain all his stamina. The bully lunges forward, screaming that it's over and there's no way Bai Yi can possibly dodge this attack. But Bai Yi just smirks, almost laughing at the very concept of needing to dodge. He scoffs at the idea, because why would he dodge when he can just be faster, activating his swiftness skill? Turns out, swiftness was just the appetizer. At max proficiency, it becomes flash blink, letting him phase through his opponent instantly. Hong Changsheng is left completely dumbfounded, his brain unable to process how Bai Yi just appeared behind him. Before he can even turn around, Bai Yi lands a single, brutal chop to the back of his neck, sending him crashing down. The bully lies in a heap on the ground, spitting blood as our boy coldly calls him what he is, trash. With an ice-cold stare, Bai Yi finishes his thought, declaring that trash belongs in the trash can. The onlookers are completely clueless, wondering if Hong just tripped over his own feet, unable to even perceive Bai Yi's movements. Even Teacher Huang is dumbfounded, admitting she couldn't see what happened, while the nerdy kid just gawks in disbelief. But one person, the class president Chi Yin, seems to have caught a glimpse, her eyes locked onto our boy with intense curiosity. Turns out, Bai Yi didn't just use swiftness, he used its advanced form, a skill called Flash Blink that triggers at max proficiency. This insane skill lets him phase through opponents and obstacles in an instant, leaving them completely vulnerable. And that's exactly how our boy took down the bully in a single, clean move, leaving him bleeding on the pavement. Chi Yin is floored, realizing not only did he master a warrior's ultimate skill, but he also held back just enough. Bai Yi's inner thoughts reveal he intentionally avoided breaking any school rules, much to the confusion of the clueless crowd. A system window pops up, showing he gained EXP and 50 Astro Element points for crushing an E-class opponent. But Bai Yi is far from impressed, thinking the points are trashed here, and that he needs to start clearing labyrinths for real power. Just as he turns to leave, Hong Changsheng staggers back to his feet, screaming that this fight isn't over yet. Refusing to accept defeat, Hong Changsheng grips his sword, his knuckles white with rage. He lunges forward, screaming that he's going to kill Bai Yi, his body crackling with a pathetic amount of energy. But a stern voice cuts through the chaos, as the dean of the academy, Hong Liang, arrives and asks if he's made enough of a fool of himself. The bully is stunned, stammering out the word uncle, while Bai Yi's eyes narrow, recognizing this powerful figure from his past life. The dean immediately takes control, telling the gawking students the show is over and that they should all head home. He encourages them to go tell their families about their awakenings, effectively clearing the area of any witnesses. The word home strikes a chord with Bai Yi, triggering a deep and forgotten memory. With the crowd gone, the dean turns his cold, calculating gaze directly onto our boy. He grabs Bai Yi by the hair, reminding him that fighting is forbidden, but our boy's mind is elsewhere. Realizing he isn't even registered as a student yet, a lightning bolt of realization hits Bai Yi. If he's back in the past, then his old comrades are all still alive. Still, in the dean's grasp, our boy realizes with dawning horror that he's forgotten the most important thing of all. Without a second thought, he breaks free and sprints away, completely ignoring the dean yelling at him to get back here. The dean turns to teacher Huang, who is utterly speechless at her student's sudden and disrespectful departure. He furiously tells her to get her student under control, warning that he'll pretend nothing happened this one time. Mortified, teacher Huang can only bow her head and apologize for the trouble Bai Yi has caused. Meanwhile, in the dean's office, Hong Changsheng is seething, still convinced that the kid just got lucky. Hess absolutely fuming, refusing to believe there's any way he could have lost to some trash-tier nobody. Slamming his fist on the desk, he yells that the whole situation is complete bullshit. But his uncle, the dean, calmly asks if he has any idea what that kid actually did to him the moment he charged. He reveals that our boy didn't just dodge, he used the high-level assassin skill, Flash Blink. The dean explains that in the split second before contact, our boy found the single weakest point in his defense and struck it with absolute precision. Hong Changsheng is dumbfounded as his uncle reveals that entire beatdown was done using only a warrior's basic skills, executed with a mastery even a veteran like himself couldn't replicate. He drives the point home, saying their fight was as ridiculous as watching a pro gamer toy with an elementary schooler using only the default controls. The dean concludes that the kid is not as simple as he seems, while elsewhere, Bai Yi sprints through the city with a desperate purpose. As he runs, he questions himself. After being reborn, besides getting revenge, what is it that he absolutely must do? He finally skids to a halt, having reached his destination in a quiet residential area. Catching his breath, the answer finally dawns on him, the true reason he was sent back in time. A traumatic flash of memory hits him, a scene of utter carnage and his own bloody demise from his previous life. His face hardens with resolve. He knows there's something he must prevent from happening again, even if it costs him his life. The scene shifts to an unknown man watching TV, completely oblivious to the fact that the clock is ticking down to a catastrophic event. The man, who we now see as Bai Yi's father, is just laughing his head off at some show on TV, completely oblivious. In the kitchen, his mother is quietly washing dishes, the very picture of the peaceful life Bai Yi lost. But that peace is about to be shattered from the inside out, as Bai Yi himself appears at the window, staring in. His father spots him, casually remarking that he's back from school a bit early today. For Bai Yi, though, this isn't just coming home. His fists are clenched with the weight of a grim future. He gazes at his mother, and the reality of seeing her again alive and unharmed hits him like a freight train. Overwhelmed with emotion, he can barely process that his mom is standing right in front of him. She turns with a gentle smile, telling him she's so glad he's alive, a line that cuts deeper than she could ever know. In a simple, loving gesture, she offers him a plate of food, a kindness he thought was gone forever. Using sign language, she lets him know she made his favorite noodles, and the weight of what he has to protect crashes down on him. With a grim resolve, our boy knows he has to change the course of this day, starting with one small detail. He puts on a brave face and tells his mom he wants to eat pickled fish, a request that's more than just a craving. His mother gently signs back that maybe they can have it tomorrow since she's already made noodles. But Bai Yi insists with a chilling intensity, telling her he absolutely has to eat it today. Seeing his strange desperation, she gives in with a loving sigh, signing that he's being impossible. As she prepares to head out for ingredients, Bai Yi immediately says he'll go with her, refusing to let her leave his sight. Suddenly, his father's voice cuts in from the couch, telling him to let his mother go by herself. The old man scolds him for being weird and not even bothering to say hello when he got home. Then, his dad's expression changes as he remembers, asking if today was his big awakening day. He gets right up in Bai Yi's face, eagerly demanding to hear the good news about his results. Without even waiting for an answer, his dad grabs a couple of beers from the fridge to get the celebration started. He proudly announces he's Bai Lingsheng, a class electric warrior, and that he rushed home just for this moment. But our boy has to break the news, coldly stating that he didn't awaken today. Bai Yi lies through his teeth, claiming the ceremony took too long and he missed his chance, leaving his father dumbfounded. The man's face darkens as he mutters about some other kid awakening as a glimmer rank class. A painful memory flashes through Bai Yi's mind, remembering his father's past words calling them both worthless. His dad's pride roars to life, boasting that his son should at least be an abyss rank, just like he was. He steps forward menacingly, reminding Bai Yi of all the sacrifices he's made to raise him. Leaning in with a terrifying red aura, he drops the act and demands to know his son's real class. The sheer pressure from his father's rage feels like it's about to crush our boy on the spot. Our boy stands firm, remembering he still hasn't told his father the whole truth. A brutal memory flashes back, his father smashing a bottle right over his head. The old man had sneered at him then, disgusted that he was a bottom-of-the-barrel dust rank. He had screamed in a blind rage, accusing Bai Yi of trying to disgrace him. Back in the present, Bai Yi sees his father for what he is. An awakened, yes, but also a violent man who can't control his emotions. A fact punctuated by another memory of a savage blow. He recalls that awful day in his past life, May 22nd, 2105. The moment his father learned he was a dust rank, the man's shame turned into a rampage. Just like always, his mother had to step in to protect him from the old man's fury. But back then, Bai Yi was just a kid, too weak and terrified to do anything but watch. The man's rage wasn't satisfied with just words. He beat his own wife for an entire hour. That day, his mother's leg was broken, and a blow to the head left her mentally scarred for life. And all our boy could do was watch in horror, splattered with his own mother's blood. Snapping back to the present, Bai Yi finds himself in the exact same position. On the floor, helpless. His status window confirms it. He's just a level 1, E-class nuclear warrior. His father looms over him, demanding he get up. But Bai Yi knows his plan for this class needs more time. Turns out, the old man is a level 26, class electric warrior. A whole different tier of power. Bai Yi realizes this isn't like dealing with some punk at school. His father has real combat experience. The cold, hard truth sinks in. He was dead wrong, and stands no chance of winning right now. His father grabs his head, screaming that he should never have been born. And Bai Yi knows this beating won't stop. But through the pain, our boy's only thought is that he absolutely cannot let his mom stay here. He takes the brutal beating, clinging to the small victory that at least he managed to get her out of the house. Suddenly, the sound of a plastic bag hitting the floor cuts through the chaos. Bai Yi looks up, completely dumbfounded, with what looks like noodles splattered across his face. His mind flashes back to a similar scene from his past life, his father's rage, and his mother's terrified face. He stares at the bag of noodles on the ground, his heart sinking. He can't understand it. How did she come back so soon? Did she really return just to feed him? Turns out, that's exactly it. His mother couldn't stand the thought of him going hungry and rushed right back. She walks in only to freeze in terror as her husband's cold voice greets her. The monster grabs her, sneering about what kind of trash-tier son she gave birth to. Suddenly, a voice cuts through his mind, recalling how he was the first green tier to ever reach the advancement stage. The voice questions him, asking why he advanced so early when it's usually reserved for A-rank blue tiers. Not only that, but he skipped straight from green tier to the legendary platinum tier, a 1 in a million feat. The scene shifts to a dark prison cell, where a blindfolded man asks our boy why he ended up on death row. With a dead look in his eyes, Bai Yi mutters that the man he killed deserved to die. His past self seethes with rage, remembering how that monster beat his own mother to death. The memory slams back into the present, and Bai Yi's eyes burn with a furious, vengeful fire. His father, cut from the same trash-tier cloth as his past life version, raises a hand to strike his terrified mother. He swings with full force, ready to repeat the exact same tragedy that broke our boy's soul once before. But just before impact, a dark object flies through the air, intercepting the blow with a crack. Turns out, it was our boy who took the hit, thinking how even a low-class awakened is leagues above a normal person. He collapses to the floor, coughing up blood, the force of the blow nearly knocking him out cold. His mother screams in terror, rushing to his side as he struggles to get up. She's absolutely horrified, seeing her son's face covered in blood just to protect her. Meanwhile, his father's fist is bruised from punching a wall, a testament to the deadly force he just used. The monster starts ranting, recalling how happy he was when he found out he was having a son. He saw our boy as the Bai family's one chance to rise from the ashes and regain their former glory. But now, he screams that he, Bai Lingsheng, is the only one who can produce a worthy heir. He gets right in his wife's face, roaring that the family's honor now rests solely on his shoulders. His eyes glow with a furious red energy as he questions why fate gave him such a useless son. He screams that it's all her fault, blaming her trashy genes for giving him such a useless son. Completely unhinged, he raises his hand to strike his wife down for this perceived failure. She flinches, bracing for the inevitable impact as his crackling red energy surrounds her. But just then, a new skill activates for our boy. Flash blink, an instant teleport. In a blur of green light, Bai Yi appears between them, his father now sprawled on the floor, dumbfounded. Bloodied but resolute, Bai Yi holds a glowing sword and warns his father not to lay a hand on her. The man's shock quickly turns into a twisted smirk. He actually finds this defiance interesting. His mother can only cry out in terror, watching her son stand up to this monster. A crazed grin spreads across his father's face as he notes that our boy has finally grown up. The standoff begins, with Bai Yi protecting his mother while his father powers up, ready for round 2. With his mother behind him, Bai Yi steels himself, knowing he just needs to stall for a little more time. His father lunges forward in a blur of red energy, and our boy's only instinct is to block the incoming attack. A new skill, parry, activates a perfectly timed block could not only nullify the damage but reflect it right back. But the sheer power gap is a joke. His father's strike smashes through the parry and shatters his sword instantly. The blow lands square in his face, and Bai Yi realizes he's up against a monster several times stronger than him. Turns out his deadbeat dad is a level 26 C-rank Electro warrior named Bai Wensheng, with a disgusting 400% attribute bonus. The single hit leaves our boy on the ground, coughing up blood with ribs that feel like they're about to snap. His father just laughs, powering up his heavy black lightning as he mocks his son for daring to defy him. He grabs Bai Yi by the head, unleashing a torrent of electricity that fries him on the spot while, with a truly demonic grin, Bai Wensheng sneers, asking if he was a little too impatient to play the hero. But even as the lightning tears him apart, our boy grits his teeth, absolutely refusing to dodge. His father just scoffs at his backbone, sneering that a weakling with his trash-tier profession deserves to be beaten to death. Bai Yi's eyes burn with resolve. He swears that in this life, he won't let the tragedies of his past repeat. The scene flashes back to another beating, his father grabbing a chair, furious that his son thinks he's special just for awakening. He raises the chair to bring it down on his own family, screaming about who the real boss is while his wife shields their son. But just as he's about to strike, a loud, insistent banging echoes from the front door. The old man is furious, wondering who the hell is here to spoil his mood at a time like this. But Bai Yi, huddled in his mother's arms, knows exactly who it is they're finally here. Enraged by the interruption, his father storms over to the entrance, demanding to know who's making all the racket. The door swings open to reveal 2 men from the inspectorate, an A-rank deputy captain and a C-rank investigator. Bai Yi's father is completely dumbfounded, stammering as he asks why the deputy captain is at his door. The A-rank officer, Li Ang, explains they're conducting a house-to-house search for a wanted criminal. He holds up a wanted poster for a highly dangerous individual known only as Snow. The father forces a laugh, trying to play it cool and saying he'd obviously report someone so famous. But in the background, his wife desperately tries to hide a battered and bloody Bai Yi from view. Liang's sharp eyes immediately catch the scene, and he points, asking what in the world happened to the boy. The old man tries to brush it off with a trash-tier lie, claiming his son just took a clumsy fall. But our boy cuts right through the nonsense, his voice cold and clear as he reveals his father hit him. A wave of pure fury washes over the father's face. He's been exposed in front of the authorities. Turns out, this was all Bai Yi's master plan. He was the one who made the anonymous tip just 18 minutes ago. The father desperately tries to spin a new lie, claiming his son is just joking and that he'd never lay a hand on him. But our boy calmly points to his own wounds, stating they can all be medically evaluated as proof of the assault. Liang just stares, his silence more damning than any accusation, as the father is left utterly speechless. With ice in his veins, Bai Yi perfectly recites the divine canon's regulations for detaining violent awakeners. The 2 inspectors are completely dumbfounded. This kid knows the law better than they do, and is using it like a weapon. The father's mind finally catches up, realizing with pure fury that his own son has brilliantly orchestrated his downfall. Liang has heard enough, formally addressing the man as Bai Lingsheng and placing him under arrest. That's the last straw. The father snaps and lunges for Bai Yi, only to be restrained by the red-haired inspector. He's dragged out kicking and screaming, promising that our boy will pay for this betrayal. The door slams shut, leaving Bai Yi and his terrified mother in the deafening silence of his victory. With the storm past, our boy, still covered in blood, finally turns to his shell-shocked mother. She rushes into his arms, and for a moment, he just holds her, telling her everything is finally okay. But even in this embrace, his mind is racing. He succeeded in protecting her and now has 15 days to prepare. He promises her this is the last time she'll ever have to fear, because he's about to get a whole lot stronger. Turns out, our boy wasn't just taking a beating for nothing. His clenched fist tells a different story. During that final struggle, he masterfully swiped the key to his father's safe right off his belt. Now, the small golden key rests in his bloody hand, the real prize from this whole ordeal. This key unlocks the very treasure that let his trash-tier father betray his team and jump from E rank to C rank. As soon as his mother calms down, he slips away into his father's room, key in hand. He finds the hidden safe, ready to claim the source of his father's power for himself. He slots the key in, recalling how his father kept this secret so well he only learned of it after his death in the last timeline. Inside, he finds not money, but a sleek, glowing dagger that hums with power. Our boy grins. With this weapon, he's confident he can finally try to solo the demon cave. He knows demon caves are the only way to upgrade professions, but they're all controlled by guilds he can't access. The only option left is the school's dungeon, and a secret one he remembers from his past life. He arrives at a dilapidated building, the entrance to the hidden demon cave, a place no one else knows about. With a look of pure determination, he knows this is his chance to get ahead of everyone, and fast. Meanwhile, at the inspectorate, officers are baffled by a false alarm that even brought out their deputy leader. One of them glances at Bai Yi's father in his cell, stating they can't afford to relax if it's tied to the rebels. On the desk lies a wanted poster for an extremely dangerous individual codenamed Snow, who they fear might appear soon. Back at the inspectorate, one of the officers, Chen Jinwu, gossips about their captain's early return, but his superior, Li Yang, quickly shuts him down. From his cell, Bai Yi's father desperately begs the deputy leader for mercy, promising he'll never cause trouble again. He even tries a pathetic bribe, mentioning a top-tier postpartum care center he could get a deal on for the deputy leader's wife. Li Yang is completely unimpressed, questioning why a former guild member would stoop to bribing the inspectorate. He tells the man to think long and hard about the choices that landed him in a cage before walking away without a second glance. Left alone, Bai Yi's father trembles, the harsh reality of his situation finally sinking in. Chen Jinwu reminds him that if bribery were discovered, he'd be in far worse trouble, advising him to rest before his transfer to the Awakener prison. But as the officers leave, a dark, crimson energy begins to surge from the supposedly broken man. Clenching his fists in fury, he thinks of his son, Bai Yi, a fiery resolve burning away his despair. Meanwhile, Bai Yi's mother lies in bed, knowing her husband gets out in 15 days and vowing to get stronger before then. Back in his room, Bai Yi knows what he has to do. To get stronger fast, the demon caves are his only option. These caves are dangerous parallel dimensions, and our boy plans to dive right into one. He recalls how most caves are controlled by powerful guilds, making them inaccessible to solo players like him. But the rewards are insane. Demonic beasts and rare ores make them the fastest way for an Awakener to level up. Normally, entering one is a bureaucratic nightmare requiring official inspection, but Bai Yi doesn't have time for that. He remembers from his past life that a specific demon cave went undiscovered for 5 whole years. An F-rank cave like this one typically requires a team of 3 E-rank Awakeners to clear. A higher tier E-rank cave would need an even stronger party, making it way too risky for him right now. Based on the timeline, our boy is 90% sure this hidden cave is F-rank. A gamble he's willing to take. He pushes open the hidden entrance, stepping into the lowest level secret dungeon he can currently access. He reaches into the darkness, crossing the threshold into the unknown. Our boy knows these caves are meant for teams, but he's out of options and time. To protect his family, he has to get stronger, and he has to do it alone, as fast as possible. The system confirms his entry, displaying his current E-rank stats, which are frankly, trash tier. A blast of cold air hits him. He instantly recognizes this as the domain of cloud-type ice beasts. He presses on through the desolate, frozen cavern, sword at the ready. But he's dumbfounded to find the remains of other adventurers scattered around a massive, sleeping beast. He immediately identifies it a hibernating icefield bear, a deadly EB rank monster. Just his luck, the beast begins to stir, its massive paw twitching as it wakes from its slumber. As the bear lunges, he realizes the horrifying truth. This is an E-rank cave, not the F-rank he gambled on. Our boy puts it all together. The cave's rank was misjudged because most of its inhabitants were dormant. An ice wolf ambushes him, and he instantly knows this single beast is way out of his league. The monster lunges with blinding speed, its claws ready to tear him to shreds. But his L-class instincts kick in, and he flips clean over the ferocious attack. He twists mid-air, trying to land a desperate stab on the beast's neck. The wolf is too agile though, dodging the strike as he lands, ready for round 2. Now it's pissed, its glowing eyes locking onto him with pure killing intent. He braces himself, anticipating the next lunge with his blade held in a perfect parry stance. With a flash of golden light, he unleashes a devastating counterslash that rips right through the beast. The wolf collapses in a spray of blood, but he's already running deeper into the cave. He checks his new A-rank weapon, the Hunwoo blade, noting it's a massive power-up but still not enough for a one-shot kill. The system confirms the kill, granting him some pitiful EXP and a wolf tooth, but he knows the grind to D rank will be a nightmare. Just as he's processing this, a menacing growl echoes from deeper within the cave. He looks up to find he's staring down an entire pack of E-rank ice wolves, with a much bigger alpha leading the charge. It seems the smell of blood from his first kill has just rung the dinner bell for the rest of the family. Our boy grits his teeth, realizing this is no longer a hunt. It's a desperate fight for survival against overwhelming numbers. The first wolf lunges, but he's already gone, its claws shattering the ice where he just stood. He capitalizes on the opening, burying his blade into the beast's side for a clean critical hit. But 2 more are instantly on him, forcing him into a tight dodge as their jaws snap shut on empty air. He flows seamlessly from defense to offense, spinning into a devastating counterattack against the next pouncing wolf. He becomes a whirlwind of death, weaving between attacks and landing critical hits on every single wolf. With his stamina draining fast, he knows he has to end this with one last, decisive strike. Leaping into the air, he channels all his remaining energy into a single, sweeping slash aimed at the entire pack. The attack lands perfectly, and system notifications pop up one after another as the minions are wiped from existence. But just as he catches his breath, the true boss emerges from the shadows, a massive, E-rank bloodthirsty wolf king. The beast lunges with a bone-crushing bite, and it's all our boy can do to parry the attack with his blade. Finding a sliver of an opening, he unleashes a furious combo, shredding the wolf king and snagging a rare diamond drop. He stands amidst the carnage, thinking that all this experience should be more than enough to finally break through to D rank. Sure enough, the system confirms his level up, but he's just annoyed that a mere 20 wolves pushed him to his limit. He looks at all the loot scattered around, realizing his trash tier E-rank stamina is a huge problem, and now he needs a dimensional backpack just to carry his rewards. He examines the Snow Wolf Diamond, thinking how guilds monopolize all the good leveling spots, making life hell for solo players. The whole system is rigged. The Awakener School just funnels the best talent straight into the big guilds. He's haunted by the memory of his own father, who got kicked out of a guild and was stuck at a pathetic C rank for life. Our boy knows soloing is too slow, and this freezing environment is just burning through his already limited stamina. Suddenly, another pack of ice wolves appears, but this time, he has a wicked idea. Instead of fighting head-on, he turns tail and starts running, baiting the entire pack to chase him. Hez not just running blindly, has a blur of motion, expertly parrying and dodging every single lunge. His plan is simple: gather all the trash mobs in one place and create absolute chaos. The forest erupts with the sounds of the chase as he pulls the entire horde deeper into the woods. But the scent of blood and battle has attracted something far worse, as a monstrous serpent is drawn to the mayhem. His plan is working perfectly. Every wolf in the vicinity is now locked onto him. He pushes off, a blur of motion leading the hungry pack deeper into the woods. Our boy is completely in the zone, his mind already 10 steps ahead of these beasts. Turns out, he wasn't just kiting wolves, he's gathered every E-rank demonic beast in the area for a party. He then triggers a massive explosion right in the middle of the horde, turning the battlefield into pure chaos. But this was just the appetizer. He knows all this commotion was just to wake up the real boss of this area. And right on cue, one of the wolves gets absolutely demolished by an unseen force. Because our boy just led the entire mob into the territory of a B-level tundra bear, which is now in a furious state. The bear is completely enraged, its eyes glowing with pure, indiscriminate, destructive intent. It immediately begins its rampage, smashing through the trash mobs just as Bai Yi had planned. While the bear rampages, our boy is having a field day, racking up kills and loot from the stragglers. His strategy is simple: let the big guys fight while he just dodges and cleans up the mess. He's a blur of motion, stacking up experience and valuable materials with every single strike. Thanks to the brainless beasts and the rampaging bear, he dings a level up to E-rank 4. He muses that the bear not only drew all the aggro but saved him a massive amount of stamina. But he knows for the EXP to count, he's gotta be the one to deliver the final killing blow. With the bear's rampage finally over, the remaining horde of beasts turns its full attention to him. Hez completely gassed, realizing that even with the bear's help, This fight has pushed him to his limits. But our boy gets back on his feet, sword at the ready, announcing it's time for the next phase. He faces the last of the wolves alone, knowing the bear has done all it can and is now out of the fight. Panting and sweating, our boy stares down the horde, a desperate but cunning plan forming in his mind. Suddenly, the very ground beneath the demonic beasts begins to crack and splinter. The entire battlefield collapses, sending the bear, wolves, and serpents plunging into a watery abyss. Turns out, Bai Yi was the trigger, slamming his blade into the ice and telling the whole damn army to go down. He reveals he wasn't just blindly fighting. He was observing the environment the entire time. This wasn't a frozen lake at all, but a fragile ice bridge between two canyons, and the EXP notifications start flooding his screen. The kill feed scrolls endlessly, as countless wolves and serpents are eliminated by the massive fall. Just like that, he levels up to E rank 7, raking in stat points, and a huge haul of monster parts. With most of the trash tier mobs cleared, he turns his attention to the few survivors. The enraged Icefield Bear rises for one last, titanic strike, and Bai Yi prepares to face it with what little stamina he has left. He even scores a new title, 1 against 100, for a permanent 10% stat boost. This is definitely the fast track to power. But as he surveys the field, a critical question hits him. Where is the final boss of this demon den? An E-rank den should have a demon lord. And he wonders if all the commotion was enough to wake it from its slumber. The remaining bear and wolves are just trash mobs, so Hez baffled as to why the true leader hasn't appeared yet. Suddenly, the beasts begin to howl in agony as a mysterious blue energy erupts from beneath them. Our boy is completely dumbfounded. He recognizes this power signature as high-level ice magic. A massive wave of ice spikes bursts from the ground, engulfing the last of the monsters, confirming his suspicions. The sheer scale of the attack is on another level, far beyond anything the bear could have produced. Amidst the chaos, a shadowy figure flashes across the icy terrain at blinding speed. As the bear is brutally impaled, Bai Yi realizes the true boss wasn't sleeping, it was waiting for the perfect opportunity to strike. The bear was just bait, a frozen monument to a meticulously laid trap. Bai Yi plummets downwards, realizing this was a calculated, inescapable opportunity for his hidden foe. The ice shatters beneath him, but it's not a sign of victory, it's the trap springing shut. Our boy is completely dumbfounded, the sheer cunning of this enemy catching him off guard. He lands on what he thought was solid ground, only to realize the ice bridge itself was part of the ambush. The real boss was just waiting for the perfect moment to swoop in and steal the kill, and now our boy's legs are freezing over. He grits his teeth, furious that such an intelligent creature is hiding in this supposedly low-level cave. Suddenly, a colossal shadow looms over him, the true demon lord finally making its grand entrance. Turns out, it's not just one boss, but a whole squad, a D-rank, cave lord, and his 2 E-rank lieutenants. The king of the azure forest smirks, its glowing red eyes promising a world of pain for the trapped human. Despite the freezing trap, our boy's eyes burn with defiance. He's not going down without a fight. The cave was labeled F-rank, but it's clearly a high-level ambush zone, with the king and his goons waiting. He can feel his body heat fading fast, realizing he's on a timer before he becomes a permanent ice sculpture. The Ape King doesn't even bother moving himself, simply gesturing for his underlings to finish the job. One of the E-rank lieutenants lunges forward, axe raised high, aiming to shatter our boy and the ice in one blow. With the massive beast bearing down on him, Bai Yi knows he has only one desperate option left. He focuses all his remaining energy, preparing to unleash a power he's kept hidden. The king watches with a cruel smirk, absolutely certain his prey is finished. But in a burst of energy, the ice prison explodes outwards as Bai Yi dodges the attack at the last second. The cave lord is completely dumbfounded, his smug expression twisting into pure shock. Turns out, that last-second dodge was actually a perfect block, a high-risk move that can reflect damage right back at the attacker. He had to use the shatter skill, burning through a massive chunk of his stamina just to break free from the ice. Our boy knows a powerful spell like that has a long cooldown, giving him a precious window to strike. But the Ape King is already furious. He slams his staff into the ground, not casting a spell, but summoning something from the depths. Suddenly, the ground erupts as a monstrous Icefield Bear, a B-rank beast, bursts forth with a roar. Bai Yi is completely stunned. He was prepared for apes, not a colossal demonic bear. The sheer size of the beast is terrifying, towering over him like a mountain of fur and ice. Yet, with no path for retreat, our boy grits his teeth and charges forward, screaming for the beast to come and get him. He knows his stamina is shot. Fighting the 2 lieutenants and this monster head on would be suicide. Turns out, the Ape King wasn't just summoning one beast. He brought his entire trash, tier army to the party. With no time to waste, our boy makes the first move. his blade flashing across the ice to meet the oncoming horde. He barely parries a brutal strike from a lieutenant, the grim reality hitting him that his chances of winning this are absolute zero. The two hulking ape warriors immediately close in, boxing him in with their overwhelming size and strength. They give him no room to breathe, unleashing a relentless flurry of savage attacks. He desperately dodges and weaves, his stamina already hitting rock bottom as he avoids a crushing blow. Hess completely gassed, realizing with dread that he can't even muster the strength to stand properly. And as if on cue, the colossal icefield bear sees its opening and charges in for the final kill. But even on the brink of death, the defiant fire in his eyes refuses to be extinguished. He grits his teeth and braces for impact as the mountain of fur and ice descends to crush him. Just as the bear is about to hit, a massive beam of energy erupts from the cave lord, narrowly missing our boy. Bai Yi grits his teeth, the sheer pressure of the attack forcing him to his knees. His inner voice screams at him. The freezing cold has pushed his stamina to its absolute limit, but the Azure Forest King just cackles, already charging up another devastating spell with malevolent green energy. The ape boss unleashes its ultimate skill, Ice Storm Raid, a colossal attack meant to wipe him off the map. Bai Yi is dumbfounded, his mind reeling at how this monster can possibly have such a short skill cooldown. He's completely outmatched, but the look in his eyes says this fight is far from over. His shock quickly turns into cold, hard focus as he analyzes the impossible situation. He flashes back to his past life, remembering how countless desperate battles trained him to find opportunities in chaos. Back in the present, he knows he has two options, and staying to fight is a one-way ticket to the grave. With his back against the wall, he coldly calculates that his chance of survival is absolute zero, so he chooses option 2, a full-blown, desperate retreat. He uses every ounce of his remaining energy to bolt across the frozen wasteland, but the Azure Forest King's magic is faster, instantly freezing the air in his path. In a flash, our boy is caught and encased in a solid block of ice. The ape boss seems almost surprised, not expecting its prey to just turn tail and run. The other demonic beasts of the cave, the Icefield Bear and its wolf pack, can only watch the scene unfold. His frozen body plummets into a dark, seemingly bottomless abyss, marking the end of his fight. Suddenly, the silence is broken by the gentle creak of a door opening. It's his mother, peeking in and wondering why he's sleeping in so late on a weekend. His mother is dumbfounded, calling out his name in a panic. She finds his room completely empty on a Saturday morning, which is highly unusual. On his neatly made bed, she discovers a hastily folded note. Her heart sinks. He'd never leave a note just to visit a friend. Something is terribly wrong. She recalls how different he's been acting lately, a deep sense of unease washing over her. Back in the frozen abyss, a single bloody bandage floats ominously on the icy water. Turns out, our boy had a master plan all along, collapsing the ice bridge under the enemy's feet. Nearly 100 demonic beasts, from ice wolves to shadow serpents, plummeted into the darkness. Suddenly, a hand bursts from the ice as Bai Yi coughs, having survived the impossible fall. A system window confirms his victory. He's cleared the S-rank dungeon, and is about to get some insane rewards. Coughing up icy water, Bai Yi realizes the EXP gain is too low. About 40 demonic beasts must have survived the fall. We see a flashback of his desperate plunge into the darkness. His entire plan hinged on the hope that a river existed at the bottom of the cliff to break his fall. He plummeted through the last layers of ice, his gamble paying off. Turns out, crashing into the freezing water was his only shot at surviving the insane drop. Now, having dragged himself ashore, his body is failing, hit with hypothermia, blood loss, and a weakened state. He's freezing to death and bleeding out, the damage from the fall catching up to him fast. Our boy feels his consciousness slipping, wondering if he's finally reached his limit. He collapses onto the frozen ground, his body finally giving out against the brutal cold. But just as his vision fades, a monstrous saber-toothed beast emerges from the blizzard, ready for an easy meal. Turns out, this trash-tier luck of his led him right to the den of a glacier overlord, an E-class cloud element beast. As his consciousness fades, his life flashes before his eyes, starting with an old swordsman buddy chiding him for not sharing a drink. Then he sees another of his fallen comrades, a brawler who just wants to give him a big hug. A memory of a young scholar from his team pops up, cheekily suggesting they sneak out for some fancy food. The face of his old ally Lucian appears next, asking for his help analyzing some crucial data. The visions shift from his past life to his new one, as his mother's gentle voice asks if the wound on his head still hurts. But the warm memories are shattered by the psychic presence of the Azure Forest King, who sadistically crushes the last remnants of his will. Suddenly, the faces of his bitterest enemies flood his mind, starting with a smug, eye-patch-wearing bastard telling him to go to hell. The traitor gardener joins the chorus, his silhouette a haunting reminder of the betrayal that cost him everything. One final enemy appears, a muscular figure echoing the same curse, as our boy's world finally fades to black. As his world goes dark, a voice tells him it's over. But our boy digs deep, screaming internally that he cannot have limits. The massive glacier overlord lunges in for the kill, seeing only a broken meal before it. But Bai Yi snaps back to life, smashing his fist right into the monster's jaw with everything he has left. The beast is utterly dumbfounded. This half-dead human was supposed to be easy prey. With pure fury in his eyes, Bai Yi vows that he will never let the regrets of his past life be repeated. He remembers losing everything once before, and that memory fuels his desperate struggle. He's already died once, and the sheer humiliation of that failure is now his greatest weapon. Channeling all that pain and rage, he unleashes a lightning-fast kick. He roars that he will never die again as his foot connects, shattering the beast's icy armor in a spray of blood. The raw, desperate power of the impact sends the colossal glacier overlord hurtling through the air. The kick took everything he had, leaving our boy on one knee, gasping for air in the freezing wind. He grits his teeth, pushing past the pain as his body screams in protest. But as the glacier overlord lies defeated, a golden aura erupts from its body. Turns out a near-death experience can trigger a class. Up, the beast rises again, its power magnified by the spirits of the ice field. Now a true apex predator. Yet, Bai Yi just smirks, realizing this was his goal all along, to manufacture a truly hopeless situation. He recalls every insane risk he's taken, all to corner himself against an army of monsters. It was all a desperate attempt to reclaim the adrenaline rush of a real life-or-death battle from his past. As his adrenaline spikes to its absolute maximum, a system notification finally appears. He tries to force a class advancement but fails, yet, in a twist, he unlocks a brand new advanced skill instead. He thinks to himself that while the class advancement failed, he managed to acquire an ultimate skill ahead of schedule. His blade begins to hum, glowing with an immense golden power he's never felt before. The system confirms it. He's unlocked the Nucleo Holy Swordsman skill, and with a smirk, he decides it's time to clean up the trash. With a gaze of pure, cold focus, our boy readies his blade for the slaughter. The upgraded Glacier Overlord lets out a furious howl, charging straight at him. But Bai Yi is already in motion, unleashing a brand new technique he calls Sanctuary. The Icefield Bear joins the assault, but it's already too late for these overgrown beasts. His Sanctuary skill explodes outwards in a whirlwind of golden light, tearing through everything in its path. He stands amidst the chaos, completely unfazed, the master of this icy domain. The system notifications go wild as his golden attack rips through the entire mob, instantly killing the Icefield Bear and every last wolf. Even the so-called Glacier Overlord is left as a mangled corpse, its reign ending in a pathetic flash of light. The divine energy fades from our boy's hand, the battlefield now eerily silent. With the fight over, the rewards pour in loot, a level up to Sun Tier CE class, and a full stamina restore from his Sanctuary skill. He even unlocks a new title, Icefield Wanderer, granting him massive resistance to the cold, and confirming Sanctuary is his new ultimate skill. Staring up at the chasm, Bai Yi makes a silent vow to the Monkey King who threw him down here. He's coming back to settle the score. The system is still catching up, logging the last of the trash-tier wolves he just annihilated. He can barely even feel the cold anymore, realizing that at his new level, E-class monsters are now a complete joke to him. Turns out, Sanctuary is a counter-move. It stores all the pain and fatigue he endures and unleashes it back tenfold. With his stamina fully restored by Sanctuary, our boy feels ready for anything. He begins the long climb out of the chasm, worried that his mom will be wondering where he's been. After what feels like an eternity, he finally pulls himself over the edge. But instead of the exit, he finds a strange, solitary hut sitting in the endless snow. The place is seriously creepy, decorated with what look like the skulls of other ape monsters. And sitting there, as if waiting for him, is the Azure Forest King himself. The Monkey King's eyes flash red, sensing that his prey has returned for round 2. But before they can exchange pleasantries, a massive ice attack shatters the side of the hut. Turns out, Bai Yi just finished off another Icefield Bear, hit level 10, and is here to tell the Monkey King they meet again. Meanwhile, back in the real world, it's late at night, and Bai Yi's mother anxiously waits by the window. She's worried sick, wondering why her son hasn't returned home yet. A full dinner sits on the table getting cold, as she just prays that he's okay. The scene snaps back to the Azure Forest King, whose meditation is suddenly interrupted. An explosion of pure ice energy blasts right through the wall of his hut. His lieutenants are on high alert, turning to face the sudden, violent intrusion. The corpse of a massive Icefield Bear comes sliding through the newly made hole. The beast is completely frozen over, steam rising from its fresh kill, and walking in right behind it is our boy, Bai Yi, stepping over the monster's body like a doormat. He's just hit level 10, the absolute peak of E-class, and announces to the stunned king that they meet again. The Azure Forest King and his lackeys are completely dumbfounded, staring at the human who just used a B-rank beast as a battering ram. They can't process what they're seeing. This trash-tier human is standing over the corpse of a monster that could have wiped their whole clan. The king is absolutely seething, realizing this isn't some lost kid, it's a genuine threat that just kicked his front door in. As if to mock them, Bai Yi casually kicks the massive bear corpse, sending it sliding even further into their throne room. One of the lieutenants, a hot-headed E-rank cloud demon warrior, has seen enough and charges forward, ready to tear him apart. But our boy doesn't even flinch. His eyes glow with cold focus, already predicting the beast's every move. He meets the attack with a simple parry, his blade deflecting the blow with a flash of brilliant green energy. Before the demon can even react, Bai Yi slices straight through it, a system notification confirming the easy 70 experience points. The king is speechless, watching his E-rank subordinate get one-shotted like a complete nobody. Finally done watching from the sidelines, the D-rank cave lord roars and leaps into battle himself, his staff crackling with raw power. The king unleashes his ultimate move, a devastating ice storm assault that engulfs the entire area. But as the icy shards rain down, a system notification pops up. Bai Yi is completely immune. Turns out, his cloud element resistance completely negates the frost damage, making the D-ranker's attack a total joke. The Azure Forest King is left dumbfounded, his trump card having done absolutely nothing. Realizing his magic is useless, he desperately conjures a massive ice crystal, changing his strategy. He slams it down, summoning a whole pack of hulking Ice 8 minions to swarm our boy. Bai Yi just smirks, realizing that once he takes care of this trash mob, he'll finally reach D-class. With his swiftness proficiency maxed out, he activates Flash Blink, vanishing from sight in an instant. He reappears behind one of the apes, his blade slicing through it before it can even register his presence. The king can only watch in absolute horror as his reinforcements are slaughtered just as easily as his lieutenant. With the minions gone, our boy blitzes straight toward the Azure Forest King, who can't even react in time. The Beast Lord is left utterly broken, staring in disbelief as his life flashes before his eyes. Bai Yi gives him one last cold look, his expression completely devoid of pity. He silently bids the creature farewell, knowing this is the end of the line for the so-called king. With a final flurry of golden slashes, he tears through the D-rank boss, ending the fight decisively. The system immediately confirms the kill, rewarding him with a hefty 1,000 experience points. And just as he planned, that XP pushes him over the edge, finally promoting him to a D-class Nucleo warrior. He even gets a surprise bonus, with an item effect permanently boosting his intellect stat. But then, a new notification catches him off guard. He's accumulated enough cloud element energy for a new profession. A strange new power surges through him, as a mysterious skill begins to manifest from all the elemental energy he's absorbed. Our boy is stunned. He's unlocked a red-tier profession, a cloud element mage, whose power rivals his main D-class warrior job. The fallen ape king even drops some starter loot, a D-class mage weapon, and a magic pouch. As he picks up his new gear, the remaining ape minions just stand there, completely dumbfounded by what just happened. He equips the new staff and pouch, and the trash-tier minions finally realize they're next on the chopping block. With a wicked grin and glowing red eyes, he thinks it's the perfect time to test out his new skills. He decides he might as well clean up the small fry left in the cave. The system confirms his switch to Cloud Element Mage mode as a crimson aura erupts around him. He's actually thrilled, realizing this is a profession he never got to experience in his past life. The scene suddenly shifts back to the real world, early in the morning at his residence. We see his mother, her eyes covered by a blindfold, waiting anxiously for his return. He quietly pushes open the door, finally back home after his life-threatening adventure. The sound startles his mother, whose eyes instantly well up with tears of pure relief. She scrambles to her feet, completely overwhelmed to see her son standing there safe and sound. Our boy's heart aches as he apologizes for making her wait for so long. She doesn't need an explanation, pulling him into a desperate and loving embrace. He realizes with a pang of guilt that she hasn't even eaten, having been sick with worry the entire time. With a new fire in his eyes, he tells her he has a proposal that will change their lives forever. He presents the magic bag, explaining it's full of valuable loot he brought back from the dungeon. The scene then cuts to him meeting a shady-looking broker to cash in on his newfound wealth. The broker, Hong Chang Sheng, inspects a crystal and throws out a ridiculously low offer, clearly trying to rip him off. But our boy isn't having it, calmly countering every greedy offer until the broker is practically screaming at him to stop. Turns out, Bai Yi's past life knowledge made him a master negotiator, leaving the broker defeated as he walks away with a heavy bag of cash. With his first real score in this life, his only thought is finally getting his mom a proper home. He brings her to a luxury apartment, and she's left speechless, a painful reminder of how she never had a single good day in his previous timeline. Watching her take in the new space, he hardens his resolve. This time, he'll make sure she can finally live for herself. The real estate agent is blown away by his directness as Bai Yi pays 3 months' rent up front, leaving his mother completely dumbfounded. Later that evening, he watches his mom humming while cooking, realizing it's been an eternity since he's seen her smile so freely. Alone in his new room, he reflects on his progress: housing secured, D rank achieved, and a new profession unlocked. But he knows he can't relax yet. As he pulls out a crystal, his thoughts turning to the one problem money can't solve. His father is still in prison, and until that's resolved, he can't truly begin his path of revenge without worry. With his new D-rank demon stone equipped, our boy decides it's time to head back to school. He's got a smirk on his face, thinking that now he can finally go look for that thing. Meanwhile, across the city, other awakened are grinding hard, stepping through portals for intense training sessions. We meet a new face, some rich young master whose lackeys are all impressed with his recent improvements. Turns out, this is Hong Changsheng, and his sister is begging him to take a break, clearly worried about his obsession. But he just brushes her off, dead set on diving into another demon lair for some extra training before the school test. He hits E-rank level 3, vowing to crush everyone in the simulated combat test and show them who the real genius is, with Bai Yi clearly on his mind. Elsewhere, a mysterious woman with a long braid looks out over the city, contemplating the future. She's some kind of instructor, and she's disappointed after reviewing the roster, noting that not a single new student has a golden tier profession. With a sigh, she writes off the upcoming test, convinced there's nothing worth watching this year, completely unaware of the storm that's coming. The next morning, a peaceful breakfast is laid out in Bai Yi's home. His mother watches him with a gentle, loving smile, a sight he hasn't seen in a lifetime. Our boy suddenly panics, asking his mom why she didn't wake him up for school. She just calmly gestures for him to chill out, not worried in the slightest. She tells him to eat slowly, ruffling his hair and saying it's fine to be late for once. Bai Yi is stunned, realizing it's been ages since has slept so peacefully. He's never had a steady breakfast with her like this. But suddenly, she grabs his collar with a serious look. Startled, he asks what's wrong, completely caught off guard by her sudden change in demeanor. She then softens, asking if there's anything he wants as a gift: toys, books, anything at all. Bai Yi is dumbfounded by the random offer, laughing and wondering what's gotten into her. His mom just smiles and points to the calendar on the fridge, circling a specific date. Bai Yi stares at the date, June 5th, and it finally clicks: it's his birthday. He reflects that in his past life, after his mother died, he completely forgot this day even existed. So when she asks what he wants, he genuinely has to think about what he desires most in this new life. Looking at her warm smile, he realizes he already has the one thing he ever wanted. With a full mouth and a happy heart, our boy feels a sense of peace he hasn't known for an eternity. But that peace quickly hardens into cold resolve. There's another goal he must achieve. His eyes glow with killing intent as he pictures his true target, the traitor gardener. Back at the Awakener affiliated school, the weekend break is officially over. A stern-looking instructor announces that it's time for the little chicks to begin their devilish simulated combat training. The instructor explains that their school is directly affiliated with the Divine Guild, meaning every move they make is being watched. This upcoming simulated combat isn't just a test, it's their graduation assessment and first big performance, broadcast live for all to see. He then drops the real bombshell. The top performer gets to join the high school department's journey of cultivation. The crowd of students absolutely erupts, realizing this is their most direct chance to get noticed by the legendary Divine Guild. This annual event, he continues, takes the most outstanding students straight to the Holy Nation, the Guild's headquarters. The mention of the headquarters instantly triggers something in Bai Yi, his face hardening as memories flood his mind. He remembers this is the very place where he first met his master, the man who trained him to be a weapon. But it's also the birthplace of that snake, the traitor gardener, who had no connection to his master until joining the Divine Legion. With his eyes glowing, Bai Yi realizes his path is clear. He must get a high score and join that journey to find his target. While the other students are just a bundle of nerves and excitement about fighting in the demon's den, our boy is locked in on his mission. The combat instructor kicks things off, announcing that the first stage of their official training is about to begin. He leads them to a gravity room, ordering 10 sets of shuttle runs, but one overzealous student yells he's going for 20. Bai Yi, however, is completely unfazed. This kind of basic training is a waste of his precious time. As the other students obediently file into the room, our boy decides he's not going to play along. He steps forward, stopping the instructor and calmly stating that he has no intention of using this training room. His classmates, including Chi Yin, are completely dumbfounded by his sudden defiance. The instructor turns, a flicker of recognition in his eyes as he finally places the student's face. He smirks, mentioning he heard about the fight with Hong Chang Sheng and assumes our boy is getting arrogant. But Bai Yi clarifies his point. He doesn't want to skip training. He wants something far more specialized. The instructor's face darkens, taking it as a personal insult and questioning if Bai Yi thinks his methods are flawed. Bai Yi calmly schools him, explaining that while physical conditioning is fine, shuttle runs are only useful for speed-based classes like warriors and assassins. He continues his lecture, stating that mages and enchanters need to focus on elemental control and that a one-size-fits-all approach is fundamentally flawed. The instructor's face twists with rage, his aura flaring as he accuses our boy of trying to teach him how to do his job. Watching from the side, Qi Yin is stunned. She realizes the training method Bai Yi is describing is the exact same one proposed by a legendary officer from the Divine Corps. Her mind reels, wondering how in the world Bai Yi could have come up with a cutting-edge theory that was only recently proposed by that master trainer. The nerdy student panics, trying to warn Bai Yi to show some respect to the school's most authoritative trainer before he gets himself killed. But it's too late. The instructor looms over our boy, his hand clamping down on his shoulder as the tension skyrockets. In a shocking twist, the instructor's menacing glare melts into a wide, impressed grin, admitting that the training method sounds incredibly interesting. The nerdy student nearly collapses in relief, thankful that his friend wasn't just beaten to a pulp. The instructor gets serious, admitting Bai Yi is right but explaining the harsh reality. With so many students, he can't risk their graduation scores by experimenting. The instructor internally admits he's facing a classic teacher's dilemma: play it safe or let a student forge their own path. Bai Yi reflects that while his past life's family was trashed here, he was lucky to have good teachers who kept him from becoming twisted. Looking the instructor in the eye, our boy promises he won't be let down and asks for his trust for the upcoming graduation performance. The instructor caves, asking how a nucleo warrior plans to train. Bai Yi points and asks for the element room suppression to be cranked to max. He's pointing towards the training rooms, specifically the one designed for mages, not warriors. The instructor and the other students are completely dumbfounded by the insane request. Bai Yi explains he wants to challenge his weaknesses, but his inner thought reveals his real plan. He can't just tell everyone to train a second profession. Suddenly, Qi Yin pipes up, declaring she also wants to practice elemental control, and the exhausted instructor just tells them to do whatever they want. Qi Yin eagerly asks to practice with Bai Yi, but he shuts her down cold, saying he's using a private room. Instead of being discouraged, her competitive spirit is fired up, and she follows him into the training area as the nerdy student watches in awe. While Bai Yi trains, the nerdy student tries to convince the instructor to let him slack off, but gets shot down with a hard no. Inside the elemental room, Bai Yi knows his warrior skills are solid, but his mage profession is trashed here and needs to be mastered fast. As the suppression hits 30%, he reminds himself to hide his trump card. This school is under the jurisdiction of the gods, and they see everything. If he reveals his ability to hold multiple professions too early, he knows he'll become a prime target for some very dangerous people. Meanwhile, Qi Yin trains in her own room, vowing not to let him get ahead, while Bai Yi decides it's best not to get involved with his classmates. After a grueling session, school ends, and our boy starts heading home on his bike. But just as he's leaving, two familiar voices call out, telling him to wait up. He recognizes them instantly. In his past life, these two were his best friends back in middle school. A memory surfaces of a simpler time, when the three of them were a bunch of nobodies, laughing about their terrible grades. But this life is different. His goal is revenge, and he knows useless social interactions will only slow him down, so he rides on. His old friends watch him ride off, wondering why he's ditching the unbreakable trio and noting he seems stronger now. The nerdy one figures his newfound confidence must be a result of his recent awakening. He then sarcastically points out that it makes no sense for someone on a bike to wait for people who are walking. But just as they're about to give up, they see Bai Yi has actually stopped and is waiting for them down the road. Our boy calls out to his nerdy friend, telling him he should probably get his lungs checked out sometime soon. The two are completely dumbfounded, but his energetic friend just assumes Bai Yi was waiting to go home with them after all. Bai Yi coldly shuts him down, saying they're too slow to keep up, and immediately rides away again. The friend is furious, yelling that he could be caught up if he wasn't so tired, but his buddy just deadpans that he barely did any exercise. As he rides, Bai Yi recalls the tragic truth. In his past life, his friend died from a sudden lung disease, and this was his only way to warn him. Left in the dust, his friends can only wonder why he's become such a cold-hearted jerk, even though he feels different. The nerdy friend, however, just smiles, convinced that deep down, Bai Yi is still the same person he always was. Meanwhile, At the Shenge Nation's new recruit training ground, some serious players are kicking back on the beach. A ridiculously ripped instructor mentions hearing rumors about a new Divine Guild recruit who's been performing exceptionally well. His subordinate, a guy with some wild dreadlocks, turns around and asks if he's talking about the one who shattered all the records. The dreadlocked man confirms he's here to report on that very person, playing it cool but clearly impressed. Later that evening, Bai Yi is having dinner at home, casually telling his mom not to go out alone anymore. His mother listens quietly as he promises to be home early to handle the groceries, but our boy knows this isn't enough. He's burning with a new resolve, realizing he has to provide his mom with a truly safe and stable life as soon as possible. The scene then cuts to a grim reality, an awakened prison, a place for criminals to remold for a new life. And there, looking worn down and defeated, is his father, Bai Wensheng, lining up to receive a trash-tier prison meal. Even in this hellhole, Bai Wensheng meticulously cuts his food, a man of standards even at his lowest. A guard leans in, confirming that everything is arranged. His release is set for tomorrow. Back on campus, Bai Yi has been grinding non-stop, finally getting a handle on his new mage abilities. He realizes it's not just about raw power. The key is calculating casting time and elemental output. Inspired by our boy's comeback, his friend is also pushing himself harder than ever in the training hall. But by Wednesday, things take a dark turn as his other, nerdier friend is cornered on the school grounds. The poor kid is found dangling helplessly, at the mercy of some low-life bullies. Right on cue, Bai Yi strolls onto the scene, his calm demeanor screaming that trouble is about to go down. His friends, now safe, excitedly ask him to dinner, but he has to refuse. He promised his mom he'd be home early. As he walks away, his friends are left shivering, a sudden cold washing over them from the sheer pressure he now radiates. Bai Yi casually drops some pro-tier advice, telling his friend his wind-up animation is trash-tier and needs work. While his training buddy gets fired up with motivation, the nerdy friend just watches on, quietly taking it all in. The next day, that same nerdy friend is at the school hospital, where the doctor tells him he's lucky he came in early. The doctor points to the X-ray, explaining he has a parasitic lung tumor that's about to grow at an explosive rate. He's told to schedule surgery immediately, and the kid, still processing, numbly agrees to make an appointment. Suddenly, it all clicks. He remembers Bai Yi's chillingly specific warning to get his lungs checked out. Staring at the scan, he's completely dumbfounded, wondering how on earth Bai Yi could have known and what happened to our boy. He walks out of the hospital in a daze, his mind reeling from the diagnosis and his friend's impossible foresight. As he walks, he overhears some students gossiping that the golden boy, Chang Sheng, has cheated his way to class level 4. Turns out, the rich kid's family has their own private labyrinth, a cheat code for leveling that normal students could only dream of. The gossip gets even juicier as the students mention the guy who provoked Chang Sheng last weekend. They reveal that Chang Sheng, with his trash-tier temper, is planning to teach that guy a lesson after school today. The nerdy student's blood runs cold as he hears they're meeting off campus, and Chang Sheng is coming armed, planning to kill him. Hes hit by a wave of regret, realizing he shouldn't have provoked scum like that, and sprints off, determined to help Bai Yi. His mind races with the worst possibilities. Chang Sheng will definitely use dirty tricks, or even call his cronies to jump our boy. He pushes himself to run faster, panting as he races through the school grounds. He suddenly stops, his legs trembling, realizing how useless he is in a real fight. But then a new fire ignites within him. Bai Yi saved his life, and he's ready to die to repay that debt. He arrives at a heavy, padlocked door, ready to do whatever it takes to get inside for his friend. Suddenly, a voice cuts through the tension as a teacher appears, demanding to know why he's trying to break into the armory. He remembers his principle of avoiding scum, but that's a luxury he can no longer afford. With a surge of desperate strength, he shatters the heavy padlock. He rips the armory doors open, screaming in his mind that Bai Yi saved his life. This isn't just about a debt. He's willing to die to save the friend he now considers a brother. Ignoring everything else, his hand immediately finds the handle of a massive battle axe. He hefts the ridiculously oversized weapon, his only thought being that Bai Yi has to hang on. But his escape is cut short as the armory teacher appears, demanding to know why he's breaking in. The student is dumbfounded to see Chi Yin is also there, asking him what's wrong. She calmly notes that he looks like he's in a serious hurry. He loses it, screaming at her that he has to go save Bai Yi right now. Chi Yin is left completely dumbfounded, wondering what on earth has gotten into him. Meanwhile, our boy Bai Yi is calmly walking his bike home through a deserted back alley. He suddenly stops, knowing full well someone's been tailing him ever since he left school. A figure steps out from the shadows, and it's none other than the trash-tier assassin from before. It's Hong Chang Sheng, radiating a menacing aura and declaring he's here to settle the score from their last fight. Bai Yi just scoffs, unimpressed, and asks if he seriously thinks a little training changes anything. That's all the prompting Hong Chang-sheng needs, activating a speed skill and blasting forward in a blur of red energy. He screams that his training wasn't for nothing, his face twisted in a maniacal grin. In an instant, he uses backstab, blink behind, appearing right behind Bai Yi for a killing blow. But our boy is faster, summoning his own blade from thin air just in time to make the parry. The clash of steel sends a shockwave through Hong Chang-sheng's arm, his blade bending under the immense pressure. Hess completely dumbfounded, realizing in horror that Bai Yi's raw attack power is somehow even higher than his. With his eyes glowing gold, our boy coldly asks if he really thought he was the only one who got stronger. A simple twist of the wrist is all it takes for Bai Yi to disarm him, sending his dagger flying. Hong Chang-sheng is left speechless, his mind unable to comprehend the absolute gap in their strength. Last time they fought, he was too weak to even notice, but now he's pinned by the throat, facing the grim reality. After all his brutal training, he can finally feel the suffocating aura pouring off of Bai Yi. He understands now that even though they're the same age, our boy is a monster he can never hope to surpass. Pinned to the ground, he desperately asks how Bai Yi leveled up and what his current level is. He completely loses it, screaming that he worked his butt off just to hit level 4. So how could Bai Yi possibly be stronger? Our boy just listens to the pathetic screaming, completely unfazed. With a cold smirk, he scoffs at the very concept of hard work. He punctuates his point by smashing Hong Chang-sheng's face right into the concrete. Leaning in, he asks a chilling question that cuts to the core of his power. Has he ever died? Hong Chang-sheng, utterly broken, just tells him to end it, sick and tired of being looked down upon. But Bai Yi admits he doesn't really hate him, acknowledging that he came alone for a fair fight, not some cheap ambush. He sees right through him, knowing this was just a desperate attempt to measure his own strength. This only infuriates the guy more, who screams for him to stop the pity party, making Bai Yi rethink his lenient stance. Meanwhile, Chi Yin and the nerdy kid finally arrive on the scene, armed and ready for a brawl. But they stop dead in their tracks, realizing the fight is already over, and there's absolutely nothing for them to do. Instead of finishing him off, our boy leans in and offers a deal, admitting he's been waiting for this exact moment. Hong Chang-sheng is dumbfounded, as Bai Yi dangles the one thing he craves, a secret to getting stronger, fast. But there's a catch, as Bai Yi's eyes glow with intensity, explaining that this power will cost him something in return. The scene shifts to assessment day, where the entire student body has gathered after a grueling week of training. On stage, Teacher Huang and the dean stand with a combat instructor, who officially kicks off the combat simulation. The instructor immediately gets real with the students, warning them that this is no game, they're entering a live labyrinth. He explains that while the dungeon is partially sealed, it's still crawling with dangerous beasts that will tear them apart. To prevent a total bloodbath, he reveals that high school division seniors will be assigned to guide them. One of the seniors smirks, knowing full well these rookies need babysitting. They'll form small teams with one senior as their lifeline. The instructor lays out the final choice. They can tackle either a trash, tier F class, or a slightly more lethal E-class instance. He warns them that the E-class dungeon is a whole different beast, not recommended for the weak-willed. And if that wasn't enough, failing the challenge means losing precious academic credits, a serious blow to their future. With the stakes laid bare, the instructor announces it's time to choose, and teams will be formed based on their selection. He then calls for a show of hands, asking who's got the guts to tackle the E-class labyrinth. As expected, the confident Chi Yin immediately raises her hand, ready for a real challenge. Hong Chang-sheng, not one to be outdone, also volunteers, eager to prove he's still top dog. The other students are dumbfounded, with one kid muttering that he'd totally go too if he didn't have a trash tier profession. The instructor tallies the votes, revealing only 8 brave souls chose the E-class. But Chi Yin notices our boy Bai Yi isn't one of them. Just as he's about to assign everyone else to the F-class dungeon by default, a voice cuts through the crowd. It's Bai Yi, who calmly raises his hand and declares he's skipping both options to challenge the school's D-class Spirit Jade Labyrinth. The instructor is left completely speechless, clipboard in hand, as if he just heard gibberish. The entire student body erupts, their jaws hitting the floor in collective disbelief. Even Hong Chang-sheng, the resident hotshot, is dumbfounded by our boy's sheer audacity. The crowd goes wild, shouting that it's insane for a student to jump straight into a D-rank dungeon. But Bai Yi remains unfazed, his eyes burning with a resolve that cuts through all the noise. The dean, Hong Liang, finally steps in, reminding everyone that a D-rank cave is far too dangerous and is typically off-limits for students. Bai Yi coolly retorts that the rules of simulated combat explicitly allow students to choose their own level. He then lays it all out, stating the school's real mission is to scout talent for the Divine Core, which requires courage and strength. Looking the dean dead in the eye, he asks if he's really going to deny him the chance to prove himself. The dean plays his last card, saying the caves require a team, but our boy shuts him down immediately, declaring he'll go in alone. The dean, looking grim, states that the rules are for protection, and solo entry is strictly forbidden. But just as he thinks he's won, a hand shoots up from the crowd. It's Chi Yin, declaring she'll choose D rank too. The entire hall is stunned, as the top-ranking student makes her insane declaration with a bright smile. The dean is absolutely livid, asking if she's lost her mind, and how he'd ever face her father if she got hurt. But she just says she wants the highest score and, besides, she just feels like giving it a try, leaving the dean speechless with rage. Chi Yin turns to our boy with a supportive wave, ready to team up, but Bai Yi is having none of it. He flatly refuses her offer, stating he's going to solo clear it, leaving her completely dumbfounded. Suddenly, a new figure, the combat instructor, steps in, casually putting his hands on both of them and saying Bai Yi's refusal doesn't count. The dean can only watch, fuming, as the instructor calls them both out for thinking they're hot stuff just a week after awakening. The instructor then makes the final call, deciding the D-rank run will be a two-person team since no upperclassmen would be crazy enough to join them. Just when it seems hopeless, a hand shoots up from the crowd as a senior volunteers to join the team. This smug-looking upperclassman, Xiling, declares he'll go to protect the flowers of the nation, clearly eyeing Chi Yin. The combat instructor looks relieved, glad that a capable senior like Xiling has finally stepped up to the plate. Chi Yin is shocked, whispering to our boy that this senior, Xiling, almost made it into the legendary Ultimate School Corps. Xiling approaches with an intimidating aura, but Bai Yi just stares back, completely unfazed by his reputation. When asked about the Ultimate School Corps, our boy bluntly states he's never even heard of it. Xiling just smirks, thinking Bai Yi is just another arrogant rookie who doesn't know his place. With the teams finally set, the instructor wastes no time, summoning a massive crimson portal for the simulation test. He warns them that professional streaming drones will be recording their every move inside the caves. The instructor then rallies the entire student body, challenging them all to give it their best and aim for the top score. But our boy doesn't even flinch, his eyes burning with a cold focus that says he's ready for war. Turns out, the entire Awakened Academy was built on top of a conquered Great Demon Cave. Both the high school and middle school divisions use the area, with portals leading to different zones. The Great Cave spawned countless smaller dungeons, perfect for student trials. Most of these pocket dimensions are controlled at a manageable F to D rank difficulty. The less experienced students look absolutely terrified as they're sucked into the glowing blue portals. Stepping through the gate marks the official start of the simulated combat, and there's no turning back now. Bai Yi's team enters their dungeon, immediately getting tailed by a drone broadcasting their every move. He instantly realizes he has to hold back. Revealing all his trump cards on a live stream would be a rookie mistake. They find themselves in a pitch-black forest, where some seriously menacing-looking vines are already creeping towards them. The team's senior guide, Xiling, immediately puffs out his chest, promising to protect the rookies. Chi Yin asks about the dungeon's difficulty, and Xiling explains that the truly dangerous D-rank beasts are usually sealed off. He smirks, warning them not to underestimate even high-level E-rank monsters. Xiling condescendingly calls them small fry, which clearly catches Chi Yin off guard. He offers to find them some weak mobs to farm, but Bai Yi just silently walks right past him. The senior is left completely dumbfounded, not understanding why he's being ignored. He finally snaps out of it, and yells at Bai Yi, warning him not to rush ahead and attract attention. Our boy doesn't even turn around, coldly telling the senior that he talks way too much. Bai Yi then tells him to just stand back and watch, making it clear he doesn't need a babysitter. Xiling and Chi Yin are left utterly speechless, watching as the so-called rookie takes command. Turns out, their little expedition is being broadcast for the entire school to see. A massive crowd of students has gathered to watch the annual simulated combat livestream. Even the school's elite are tuning in, watching the rookies from a private viewing room. Inside the exclusive Ultimate Campus Lounge, the top dogs are taking notice. A green-haired senior, the vice captain, smirks at his phone and tells his captain to check out this one particular stream. He finds it hilarious that some ballsy junior actually picked a D-rank dungeon to clear. His captain, a woman with an intimidating aura, asks what class this reckless rookie is. The vice captain scoffs, revealing his just a green warrior, the most worthless class imaginable, but she's intrigued by his confidence. Meanwhile, in a much easier F-class dungeon, some poor kid is screaming his head off, shaking a tambourine in terror. His team is getting swarmed by bat-like monsters, showing just how out of their depth most of these students really are. His teammate tries to calm him down, reminding him that as a support class, he just needs to stay back and buff them. But the poor kid is losing his mind, screaming about how a supposedly trash-tier F-class dungeon is this terrifying. It seems every dungeon is tougher than advertised, as another team faces a pack of crackling, wolf-like beasts. Inside a sealed E-class labyrinth, a different group is already on its last legs, desperately trying to heal their wounded. Seeing his team struggle, Hong Changsheng roars for them to get out of his way so he can handle it himself. Fueled by pure spite, he activates his skills, vowing that he will absolutely surpass Bai Yi no matter what. But while everyone else is fighting for their lives, our boy Bai Yi casually cuts through the air with a flash of green light. Turns out, he's soloing a D-class dungeon and has already effortlessly one-shot a G-rank monster. In fact, he's standing in a graveyard of them, having wiped out the entire pack without even breaking a sweat. His insane clear speed immediately catches the eye of Qi Yin and a smug senior, who approaches completely dumbfounded, asking how he did it. Bai Yi just shrugs, explaining that the monsters here are sealed and can only use half their strength, making them easy pickings. But Qi Yin is still blown away, saying that even at half power, taking on multiple enemies at once is insane. She admits with a sigh that she's still a long way from ever catching up to his level. Our boy just calmly tells her there's no need to compare herself to others. Instead, he says, she should just focus on being herself. His cool demeanor completely wins her over, and she declares she'll do her best, much to the senior Xiling's annoyance. Xiling is fuming internally, thinking this rookie has completely hogged all the damn spotlight. He steps forward, reminding Bai Yi with a scowl that this is a D-class dungeon, and he better not get conceited. Trying to act like a big shot, he ruffles Bai Yi's hair and says that as his senior, he should give him some advice. But as Xiling starts giving orders, Bai Yi just says he'll take the left path and walks off, leaving the senior dumbfounded and utterly ignored. While Xiling fumes about the disrespect, Bai Yi calmly tells Qi Yin to handle the weaker monsters on the right by herself. He explains this is an individual assessment, pointing out the drone recording everything for their final score. With a slight smile, he asks if she doesn't want to prove her own strength and get a good grade. His words hit the mark, and a newly determined Qi Yin declares she's ready for the challenge. In what feels like moments, the entire area is cleared, littered with the bodies of defeated monsters. Xiling is absolutely losing his mind, his pride completely shredded by this rookie's insane skill. Deciding to do things the hard way, he summons a glowing bow, ready to stir up some real trouble. Our boy simply turns with a smirk, as if he was expecting this trash-tier move all along. Suddenly, a monstrous two-headed flame lion erupts from the ground, a beast clearly summoned by the jealous senior. The beast's thorny vines erupt, instantly ensnaring Qi Yin, who is caught completely off guard. One of the massive heads lets out a deafening roar, its fiery maw just inches from her face. She's completely frozen in terror, thinking this is the end for her. From a safe distance, the smug senior Xiling just grins, absolutely loving the chaos he's created. But our boy isn't just standing around. He activates swiftness, kicking his speed into overdrive. He becomes a green blur, effortlessly weaving past the lion's snapping jaws. As he moves, he feels a strange new sensation, as if his skill is evolving mid-combat. The beast, ignoring the pest buzzing around it, turns back to finish off the trapped Qi Yin. In a flash of light, Bai Yi appears right in front of her, having mastered Flash Blink to deliver a brutal blow to the monster's face. The beast stumbles back, blood pouring from its eye, but it's far from finished. Bai Yi pulls Qi Yin behind him, who is dumbfounded at how a monster this huge can move so fast. Turns out, Xiling knew all about this labyrinth, including an overlooked monster that continuously respawns. He sneers, thinking these trash-tier recruits have no chance against a true D-class monster. To make matters worse, he reveals he used his skill to enhance the beast, cranking up its speed and power. As if that wasn't enough, the lion enters a berserk state, getting yet another massive boost to its stats. Our boy grits his teeth, realizing this juiced-up monster might actually force him to use his full strength. He sternly tells Qi Yin to fall back, knowing she's completely out of her league here. With all its buffs active, the two-headed flame lion lunges forward for the kill. But instead of running, Qi Yin defiantly steps forward, casting a powerful vine wall spell. Thick, thorny vines erupt from the ground, wrapping around the charging beast and halting its attack mid-pounce. She doesn't let up, pouring every ounce of her mana into the spell and summoning another layer of defense. The enraged lion is now completely cocooned in 3 layers of vines, roaring as it struggles against the bindings. Our boy looks back, genuinely surprised by her gutsy and surprisingly effective move. Qi Yin pleads with him to let her join the fight, promising she won't be a burden against the D-class threat. Watching the stream, Xiling is absolutely floored, thinking she must be out of her mind to face a beast that almost devoured her. Bai Yi cracks a small smile, admitting he's impressed she recovered from her fear so quickly. With newfound resolve, she declares she's worked too hard to fall here, and it seems our boy has found himself a partner. Qi Yin looks at our boy with absolute trust, declaring that with him here, there's no way she'll die. Bai Yi acknowledges her gambit, noting that since she used 3 skills at once, they can't waste this opening. He recalls his past life, remembering how Qi Yin was already a shining star in middle school, dreaming of becoming a cleric. She came from a powerful family but was always kind and responsible, a natural-born leader. Head lost track of her after that, but now he realizes she's become someone he can truly trust on the battlefield. With a reliable partner, he thinks he can probably clear this dungeon without having to reveal his true, monstrous power. Watching the stream, Xiling scoffs, ranting that the two of them are delusional if they think that flimsy vine wall will hold. Hez absolutely fuming, convinced that real combat isn't about confidence and their trash-tier skills are useless against a D-rank beast. The smug senior just waits, planning to teach them a lesson when they inevitably fail and come crawling to him for help. Right on cue, the two-headed flame lion shatters its bindings, roaring as Xiling promises to give them a lesson in physical skincare. With no time to waste, Qi Yin lays out the plan. She'll lure the core, type lion, and Bai Yi just needs to nail the timing. The enraged beast immediately charges, forcing the duo to scatter to avoid getting flattened. Our boy explains that since he drew first blood, the monster's aggro is now completely locked onto him. He expertly baits the fiery beast, leading it on a chase, straight towards a massive pool of water. Without a second thought, Bai Yi plunges into the depths, goading the flame-wreathed monster to follow him in. As the lion crashes into the water, he gives Qi Yin the signal, knowing its main weapon is now useless. Right on cue, she summons a powerful vine wall, erupting from the water to ensnare the drenched beast. From a distance, Qi Yin pours her mana into the spell, keeping the monster completely immobilized. The two-headed flame lion roars in absolute fury, but its struggles are useless against the waterlogged vines. Seeing her chance, Qi Yin focuses all her power, preparing to unleash the final, decisive attack. The vines not only trap the beast but also poison it, deactivating its berserk state and leaving it completely helpless. Qi Yin channels her remaining power, buffing our boy as he emerges from the water, ready for the kill. With the monster cornered, Bai Yi declares it's time to end this test and aim for the highest score possible. Watching from the control room, the smug senior Xiling is absolutely losing his mind, unable to process how a single vine wall subdued a monster he personally buffed. Turns out, Qi Yin's spell was way more potent than anyone imagined, completely dwarfing the massive lion. The bald instructor can only grit his teeth in silent fury, watching his plan to humiliate Bai Yi crumble. Another instructor calmly explains the genius of their plan, using simple elemental counters and teamwork to easily restrain a monster far above their level. The combat instructor just smirks, impressed by Bai Yi's on-the-spot leadership and flawless execution. The instructors all agree that the top spot in this test is now a foregone conclusion. Only the final strike remains. They realize that once this recording is submitted, our boy is on track to achieve the highest score in the Academy's history. But just as our boy is about to land the final blow, the livestream abruptly cuts to black, leaving everyone dumbfounded. Turns out, the recording drone inside the dungeon was just destroyed, cutting off all visual evidence. The smug senior Xiling smirks, thinking that with no recording, Bai Yi can kiss that record-breaking score goodbye. Back in the cave, the two-headed flame lion is dead, and Bai Yi gives all the credit to Qi Yin's incredible support. He explains her high elemental resistance is what allowed her to use a simple vine skill with so many complex variations to trap the beast. Suddenly, Xiling himself appears, condescendingly telling them the boss is dead and they should get going. But our boy isn't letting this slide, coldly telling Xiling that he's had enough of his games. Bai Yi lays it out plain and simple. He knows Xiling buffed the monster, an act that could have easily killed them all. Xiling tries to play it off, claiming he meant to buff Qi Yin but missed. But Bai Yi just calls his skill level pathetic. That insult hits a nerve, and the senior's face twists with pure, unadulterated rage. Bai Yi continues to mock him, asking if that's really the best an archer can do with his aim. Qi Yin jumps in, adding that with such trash-tier skills, it's no wonder he wasn't picked for the ultimate school team. Completely triggered, Xiling summons his golden energy bow, demanding to know what they just said. But our boy doesn't even blink, stepping in front of Qi Yin with his own blade drawn, ready for a fight. Xiling freezes, the reality of attacking another student in a recorded dungeon finally hitting him. He seethes, but ultimately backs down, dematerializing his bow and muttering that this isn't over. Tossing a final threat over his shoulder, he tells them to just wait and see what he has in store for them. The cowardly senior then turns tail and storms off, leaving them alone in the boss room. As they leave, Bai Yi and Qi Yin walk past the very recording device Xiling smashed to try and screw them over. While Qi Yin is still fuming about how annoying that senior is, Bai Yi is already busy looting the boss's corpse. Bai Yi realizes that Xilin's tantrum actually helped him by isolating them, giving him the perfect window of opportunity. With a sly grin, he thinks that now he finally has the chance to take care of some unfinished business. He throws up a massive, crimson ceiling array, blocking the entrance to the demon cave completely. Our boy turns to Qi Yin and asks her to keep what happens next a secret, knowing full well it's going to be unbelievable. Qi Yin is completely dumbfounded, having no clue what insane plan is cooking in his head. He recalls his deal with the Demon King, Belphegor, who reminded him that the unsealed magic stone was with Uncle Kun. His true objective is finally revealed. He's going to completely unseal the Spirit Jade magic shield. With a look of pure focus, he begins channeling his dark energy into the massive crystal. Qi Yin absolutely loses it, screaming that it's a D-rank shield and breaking it will unleash a horde of high-level monsters. But it's too late, as tendrils of dark energy violently surge around the crystal, shattering the ancient seal. Bai Yi tries to calm her down, explaining the monsters are still weakened by the seal, but she's not having it. He just coldly states that they don't need 2 people for this job. Suddenly, his entire aura shifts as he taps into a completely different power source. Qi Yin's eyes go wide with disbelief, unable to process what she's seeing. She absolutely loses her mind, pointing and stuttering, completely dumbfounded. Because our boy is now standing there holding a mage's staff, radiating immense magical power. He tells her to just stay by the exit and watch, planning to solo the entire wave himself. With a deafening roar, the first wave of monsters, a pack of 3-headed flamehounds, breaks free. They immediately charge forward, a tide of claws and fire aimed directly at our lone mage. Qi Yin can only scream in terror, warning him to watch out for the incoming onslaught. But our boy doesn't even flinch, facing down the snarling beasts with a cold, determined look. He calmly switches to his S-rank Cloud Element Mage class and unleashes a devastating ice spell. A wave of pure frost energy erupts from his staff, swirling around the charging flamehounds. Qi Yin is completely dumbfounded, realizing he has a legendary red-tier profession that she could only dream of. In a split second, the entire pack is frozen solid, their fiery charge halted in an instant. He explains that this is just the appetizer. The real horde is about to break loose any second now. Knowing he's about to unleash hell, he tells her he needs a much larger battlefield. Qi Yin immediately understands the danger and bolts, getting as far away as she possibly can. Right on cue, the ground shakes as the sound of countless paws thunders from the portal. A fresh wave of flame-wreathed beasts emerges, their eyes burning with hunger and rage. From the portal emerges the real deal, a D-class fierce flame leopard, radiating pure menace. But our boy knows a secret. Since they've been sealed for so long, their power is cut in half. He unleashes a wave of frost, his flash freeze skill instantly stopping the beast in its tracks. His plan is simple. First, control the entire horde by turning the battlefield into his personal ice rink. With the front line frozen solid, he easily sidesteps another pouncing shadow, his body glowing with power. Time for a change of pace. He instantly switches classes to his Nuclear Warrior form. A D-class fire saber-tooth lunges from the side, only to be met by his glowing green blade. He scoffs internally, wondering if it really thought a pathetic sneak attack would work on him. As another fiery beast charges, a strange, blazing humanoid figure streaks across the battlefield. Recognizing the new threat, he switches back to his Cloud Element Mage class, ready to cast again. The 3-headed hound is frozen solid, its ferocious roar silenced in an instant of absolute zero. Watching from the sidelines, Qi Yin is left completely dumbfounded, wondering how he can switch professions so easily. It all clicks into place for her. Now she understands why our boy was so obsessed with training his elemental resistance. She reflects on the true essence of a mage, realizing it's all about manipulating the natural forces around you. In the past, she always thought raw power was king, getting frustrated when her own untamed magic failed her. But watching Bai Yi, she finally gets it. True strength lies not in power, but in absolute control over that power. He demonstrates this by effortlessly conjuring massive shards of ice, preparing to obliterate the frozen horde. With a single thought, he unleashes a devastating attack, getting an insane amount of mileage out of a basic skill. Qi Yin's eyes widen in shock and admiration. The level of mastery he's already achieved is just unreal. Our boy simply stands there, a king in his icy domain, surrounded by a gallery of frozen D-class beasts. A grim thought crosses Qi Yin's mind. Compared to a monster like him, she and everyone else were left in the dust ages ago. The weight of this realization hits her hard, understanding the sheer, uncrossable gap between them. But that despair quickly melts into pure admiration, as she can't help but think he's the coolest guy she's ever seen. Suddenly, the ground trembles as a colossal foot stomps down, signaling the arrival of the real boss. A D-class hell mammoth emerges, the Labyrinth Lord itself. Its power so immense it has to be sealed just to be contained. But our boy isn't even fazed, smirking as he says he's been waiting for this trash-tier boss to finally show its face. The mammoth charges forward with terrifying force, ready to trample everything in its path. But Bai Yi is one step ahead, instantly switching to his Nucleo Warrior class, and declaring he's here to take something from the beast. He becomes a blur of green light, closing the distance in an instant, as the mammoth barrels towards him. With a single, blindingly fast slash, he lands a devastating critical hit right between the monster's eyes. The blade sinks deep, tearing through the beast's thick hide like it's nothing. He follows through with a whirlwind of slashes, leaving the mammoth bleeding from a dozen new wounds. Our boy just smirks, thinking that even a sealed level 15 monster is no match for a level 10 prodigy like him. The mammoth stumbles back, roaring in a mix of pure agony and rage, but its fury overrides the pain, and it lowers its head for another desperate, earth-shaking charge. Its foot comes crashing down, but Bai Yi has already vanished from the spot, has a blur of motion, landing a relentless barrage of critical hits all over the monster's body. The Labyrinth Lord is completely outclassed, unable to even defend against the onslaught. Seeing his opening, Bai Yi's eyes begin to glow with an intense, golden power. He gathers his energy, preparing to unleash his ultimate skill as the word Sanctuary begins to form. With his 1 against 100 title active, our boy unleashes his ultimate skill, Sanctuary. The Hell Mammoth doesn't even stand a chance, caught in a blinding flash of golden light. In an instant, the entire horde of D-class beasts is vaporized, their forms shattering like glass. A flood of notifications confirms the massacre, netting him a ton of EXP, and even a high-grade material for an S-rank weapon. Bai Yi casually dismisses the lingering energy, the absolute carnage he just caused, meaning nothing to him. His eyes land on the real prize, a unique item that dropped from the Labyrinth Lord. He finally has it, the Resonant Kingstones, the very reason he came to this trash-tier dungeon. The massive EXP gain levels up both his classes to D rank and even upgrades his title with a lifesteal effect. Just then, Qi Yin arrives on the scene, completely dumbfounded by the field of frozen monster corpses. Bai Yi simply turns to face her, calmly calling out her name amidst the devastation. Bai Yi calmly asks Qi Yin if she remembers the promise he made to her earlier. She's confused for a second, right before a system notification reveals she's leveled up to E-class just by being in his party. Meanwhile, outside, the instructors are freaking out, realizing the dungeon's seal has shattered under a massive energy spike. The smug senior, Xiling, stops the combat instructor, mocking him for not being inside to protect the underclassmen. But the instructor shoves him aside, screaming that there's no time for this nonsense because the seal is broken. The teachers sprint past, leaving Xiling completely behind as they rush to the scene of the disaster. Xiling, however, just starts cackling, absolutely delighted that karma is about to hit the freshmen hard. The instructors burst into the dungeon's core, yelling for the two students, expecting to find nothing but carnage. Instead, they find Bai Yi and Qi Yin standing there without a single scratch, leaving the teachers utterly speechless. Our boy, completely unfazed by their panic, simply asks what all the teachers are doing in his dungeon. The combat instructor is dumbfounded, wondering if the seal wasn't broken after all and if the machine just had an error. The scene cuts to earlier that day, revealing the smug senior Xiling meeting with the ultimate campus vice captain. Xiling confidently asks if the materials he submitted are enough to finally secure that last coveted spot on the team. But the vice captain just shreds his application, coldly informing him that the captain has already chosen someone else. Xiling is absolutely livid, demanding to know who could have possibly been picked over a prodigy like him. He grabs the vice captain by the collar, screaming about how his skills and background should have made him the obvious choice. Just then, the team's captain arrives as the vice captain calmly states they've already found their most valuable person. Turns out, the captain, a golden electro-element assassin named An Lei, has her eyes on someone else, thinking that Bai Yi is a very interesting kid. Later that evening, we see two men sitting at a table in what looks like a gritty part of town. One of them, an investigator named Chen Jinwu, warns his companion to stay out of trouble, revealing he pulled a lot of strings to get him out early. The parolee slurps his noodles, casually agreeing that he understands the terms of his release. With a cigarette dangling from his lips, Chen Jinwu gives him the rundown. Captain Hong arrives next Friday, and he better know what that means. The parolee just gives a simple, confident reply, telling him not to worry. Suddenly, Chen Jinwu's phone starts ringing, interrupting their little chat. He scoffs in annoyance, complaining that some old geezer is calling him again before telling the parolee to head home early. As the investigator walks away, the parolee promises he'll do just that. But the moment he's alone, his face twists into a mask of pure, unadulterated rage while thinking about going home. His eyes burn with hatred, This guy is clearly not planning a quiet night in. He arrives at a small, empty apartment, absolutely livid, demanding to know where that mother and son ran off to. In a blind fury, he kicks a table across the room, screaming that the son of a bitch got away. The parolee roars in fury, absolutely losing his mind that they dared to hide from him. He seethes with rage, promising that if he ever gets his hands on them, he'll kill them both, punctuating his threat by smashing a glass table with his bare fist. The scene flashes back to a calmer time, as a young Bai Yi is given a red necklace by his mother. She explains that this is a responding spirit jade, and tells him to keep it with him always. Our boy smiles, pulling out a matching one, revealing they each have a piece of the set. She explains that if is ever in danger, he just needs to crush his jade, and she'll sense it and come for him. With a gentle smile, she admits that without this connection, she'd be too worried to even go out alone. Back in the present, Bai Yi reflects on this memory, realizing his mom never had any jewelry of her own. He thinks about how she never got any of the nice things a woman should have, his expression hardening with resolve. His mother gently tells him he should be out having fun with friends instead of just hanging around her. But our boy just smiles, saying he doesn't feel the need to, perfectly content with how things are. She looks worried, insisting that everyone needs to have people who are important to them. The phrase important people hits him hard, making him pause. He thinks back, wondering what that even means for him now. A vision of his fallen comrades from his past life flashes before his eyes. He wonders if he'll ever meet them again in this timeline. The scene cuts to the present, just before midnight, outside a wild D-class demon lair. With the jade issue handled, he can finally focus on this hidden lair, a secret that only opens for 1 hour. It's time to stop reminiscing and start getting stronger, so he draws his sword, ready for the grind. With a determined step, he plunges into the swirling red vortex of the dungeon. Inside, our boy recalls his past life, remembering that even as a top-tier warrior, he was still weak. He was forced to watch helplessly as his comrades were slaughtered right before his eyes. The very idea of friends now seems like a cruel joke as he lunges at the first monster. With a single, clean strike, he obliterates the D-class flower, instantly gaining a chunk of experience. He scoffs internally, thinking there's no point in making connections when you're just going to lose them. After all, he knows that on a whim, some godlike entity could just wipe everyone out without a proper grave. He narrowly dodges a massive energy beam that shatters the ground where he just stood. Weaving through its thrashing vines, he lands a brutal critical hit right on the monster's core. Another beast falls, but it's not enough. The only answer is to become overwhelmingly stronger. He's already moving, a blur of motion, pushing himself to get faster and more powerful. He screams into the void, a desperate roar that he must become stronger than everyone else. With eyes burning with cold fury, our boy locks onto his next targets. He becomes a whirlwind of death, tearing through the wild corpse orchids and racking up experience. Not even bothering to use his hands, he rips a monster apart with his teeth, knowing he has to fight with everything he has. Because right now, he knows he's still too weak. He can't even defeat the memory of his own father, let alone some golden rank genius who was a prodigy since he was a kid. He realizes there are no shortcuts or detours on the path to true power. From now on, he will not avoid a single enemy that stands in his way. Gripping his blade, he prepares to carve his way through the entire horde. His sword flashes, unleashing a wave of pure destruction that rips through the monstrous plants. The experience notifications just keep flooding in as our boy turns the entire forest floor into a graveyard. He feels the power coursing through him, the golden aura of his newfound strength exploding outwards. With cold, determined eyes, he knows this is just the beginning of his brutal grind. A system notification pops up. The dungeon entrance closes in 20 minutes, meaning he's on the clock to find the boss. He finally reaches the deepest part of the lair, standing before a colossal, shadowy figure. A sinister green aura fills the air, but Bai Yi just stares up at the beast, completely unfazed. The dungeon lord finally reveals itself, a hulking golem-like monster ready for a fight. But just as he prepares to engage, he senses a sudden movement from an unexpected direction. A volley of deadly green projectiles slices through the air, aimed right at him. Turns out the boss, a level 20 D-rank lord named Ye Wuming, is way faster than he looks, closing the distance in an instant. Our boy doesn't even flinch, summoning his golden blade to meet the attack head-on. With a clean slice, he lops off the golem's entire arm, thinking it's an easy first strike. But the dungeon lord, Ye Wuming, just stares at its stump, completely unbothered by the damage. In a flash of green light, it uses a self-healing skill, and the arm grows back instantly. Bai Yi is stunned. He's never seen a regeneration ability this powerful on a D-rank boss. The golem slams its brand new fist into the ground, shaking the entire cavern. Suddenly, the floor erupts with dark energy and shadowy vines, aiming to ensnare him. Bai Yi remains calm, but he can feel the boss's immense power radiating behind him. But then something even weirder happens. The corpses of the plant monsters he killed earlier begin to stir. He's completely dumbfounded as the slain beasts rise again, wondering how this is even possible. Our boy realizes something is terribly wrong. A D rank lord shouldn't have a revival skill. Before he can even process it, a shadowy tendril whips through the air behind him. He barely has time to register the incoming attack, his eyes wide with shock. The sharpened limb pierces straight through his side in a brutal spray of blood. He looks down, dumbfounded, at the monstrous arm that has completely run him through. Turns out, the dungeon has a sick twist. There are 2 level 20 D rank lords, and this is Yi Wuming's twin brother. With the first golem fully healed and its twin revealed, our boy is now facing an impossible 2-on-1 battle. Gritting his teeth through the agony, he knows this has just become a fight for his very survival. But just as things hit rock bottom, the clock strikes 1 in the morning. A system notification pops up for everyone outside. The demon lair entrance has officially closed. The scene shifts to a rainy Saturday evening, May 30th. Meanwhile, Bai Yi's mother paces anxiously, realizing another day has passed and her son is still missing. Fearing he's gotten into trouble again, she decides she can't just wait around and has to find him herself. She rushes out of her apartment and into the stormy night. But just outside, a shadowy figure stumbles over empty bottles, mockingly greeting Mommy and the kid. It's Bai Yi's trash-tier father, Bai Wensheng, looking absolutely furious that they dared to rent a new place without him. As lightning cracks across the sky, he sneers about how they seem to be enjoying their new life. His eyes glow with pure, unadulterated rage, promising nothing but trouble. Unaware of the danger waiting, Bai Yi's mother makes her way through the building's security gate. She steps out into the rain, her heart heavy with worry for her son, completely oblivious to the monster lurking nearby. Suddenly, our boy's eyes fly open with a jolt of pure dread, as if sensing the danger brewing back home. At the same time, a massive bolt of lightning tears through the stormy sky, heralding the chaos to come. But Bai Yi isn't at home. He's trapped in a dungeon, sword in hand, facing an endless nightmare. He realizes with grim certainty that this is the 5th wave of monsters, and they just keep getting back up. A grotesque, heart-devouring flower lunges at him, its thorny tentacles lashing through the air. He cuts them down with practiced ease, but the system notifications confirm his worst fears. He's gaining barely any experience. He grits his teeth in frustration. Killing these resurrected monsters over and over is yielding absolutely nothing. Looking past the cannon fodder, he knows he has to find the source of their endless regeneration to stand a chance. Turns out, it's not just one boss but 2 D-rank lords, the twin golems Ye Wuming and Sai Wuming, reviving everything he kills. With no other choice, Bai Yi unleashes his flash step, rocketing towards the twin lords to end this farce once and for all. He soars through the air, bringing his blade down hard on the green golem, Ye Wuming. With laser focus, our boy pours everything into this one decisive strike. His sword connects, shattering the golem's stone-like body with a powerful impact. The system even confirms a critical hit, blowing a massive hole right through the monster. But to his shock, the gaping wound instantly begins to glow and regenerate at an impossible rate. He realizes the other golem, Si Wuming, is acting as a dedicated pocket healer for its twin. This isn't the first time. He recalls how even decapitating it was useless as it just healed right back. Bai Yi is dumbfounded. This level of healing surpasses even an S ranker, so there must be a hidden power source. Before he can formulate a new plan, the golem is instantly back to full health. Now fully restored, the beast lunges forward, launching a ferocious counterattack of its own. The golem's fist comes crashing down, but our boy meets it head-on, expertly executing a parry. Turns out, a perfect parry within 0.01 seconds can reflect all the damage, a feat even Belphegor watches with interest. Bai Yi is impressed. This monster is actually learning and adapting to his moves mid-fight. The golem stands firm, having weathered the reflected blow without a scratch. It even speaks, acknowledging that Bai Yi is an incredibly strong opponent. With that, the beast decides to get serious, transforming into a deadlier, armored, second form. Our boy is momentarily stunned by the sudden surge of power, realizing this fight just got a lot harder. But his shock quickly turns into a confident smirk as he finally pinpoints the true source of its power. The golem wasn't the core at all. It was drawing energy from a massive, glowing tree hidden behind it. Done playing games, Bai Yi zips right past the dumbfounded monster, making a beeline for the real target. Our boy confirms his suspicion. That tree is the source of the boss's insane healing ability. The golem's minions panic, trying desperately to block his path. He unleashes a massive golden arc of energy, knowing all he has to do is chop down these overgrown plants. A cold smirk crosses his face. Once the trees are gone, the boss is nothing but a sitting duck. The twin golems are in full-blown panic, screaming for their minions to stop him at all costs. But Bai Yi pulls a fast one, plunging his sword into the ground to unleash a wave of pure ice magic. The sudden frost attack catches both Demon Kings completely off guard, freezing them solid in an instant. The system confirms his switch to a core-type warrior was the perfect counter to these D-rank lords. With the bosses locked down, his blade effortlessly shatters their icy prison. And just like that, it's checkmate. With the life source trees destroyed, the bosses lose their resurrection power, and Bai Yi reaps the rewards. The life-giving trees and vines wither into nothingness, their dark magic dissolving completely. With its power source gone, the first twin, Ye Wuming, shatters into a million icy shards. Ignoring the gash in his side, Bai Yi points his blade at the survivor, declaring that it's the only one left. The remaining golem, Si Wuming, just stares blankly, the light of battle completely gone from its eyes. Our boy stands ready for the final showdown, but the monster makes no move to attack. Instead, Si Wuming just stands amidst the flames of its fallen forest and begs Bai Yi to kill it. Bai Yi is taken aback. He's never seen a dungeon lord lose its will to live after its brother's death. Seeing the despair, he grants its wish with one final strike, and the system rewards him with a hefty chunk of EXP. He picks up a strange purple crescent horn, a unique material dropped by the twin lords. As notifications for his class level-ups flood his vision, the entrance to the cave finally reappears. Just as he's about to leave, a system notification dings, showing his cloud element bar is completely maxed out. Our boy is dumbfounded. Not only did his nuclear warrior class level up, but now he's getting another class entirely. The system grants him a level 1 flower-type summoner class, and he immediately notices its trash-tier stat requirements. He inspects the skills and finds Flower Spirit Contract, a shady-sounding ability to form contracts with the souls of defeated flower monsters. A wicked idea sparks in his mind as he realizes the twin golem lords he just killed were technically plant-based monsters. Thanks to his new passive skill, he can now see the lingering blue souls of Ye Wuming and Sai Wuming hovering over the battlefield. With a smirk, our boy decides to test out his new necromancer-like ability and activates the Flower Spirit Contract. He reaches out his hand, calling to the two powerful spirits that just tried to kill him. With absolute confidence, he commands the souls of the former dungeon lords to come over to him. The twin spirits materialize before him, their immense power now bound to his will as his very first summons. Meanwhile, a shady-looking man stands outside a house in the pouring rain, clutching a knife. His phone suddenly rings, and he's pissed off about being disturbed at this hour. He answers, surprised to hear it's a certain Officer Chen on the other end. Turns out, he's just been given a golden opportunity to get back into the guild by attending a party. A wicked grin spreads across his face as he hangs up, his plan already taking shape. He celebrates his good fortune, calling it a great day as he brandishes his blade. With a chilling tone, he decides it's time to pay a visit to his dear little sister. The scene shifts to a different time and place, where Bai Yi's mother waits anxiously in the rain. Our boy, looking much younger, approaches with an umbrella, asking why she's out in the bad weather. She looks back at him, her face etched with a deep, unspoken worry. A younger Bai Yi gently tells his mother that it's time to go home, shielding her from the downpour. His mom's heart aches, thinking he's just a silly child for going to such lengths for her. She remembers him saying he was just going out to get her a belated Mother's Day gift. But as she sits inside, a sudden, blinding flash from the window shatters the quiet moment. Back in the present, our boy lies in bed, wondering if his mother, who cannot speak, is truly as oblivious as she seems. He mulls over his current arsenal, now possessing the powers of a warrior, a summoner, and a mage. His status screen confirms 2 of his classes are already D rank, but his thoughts drift to his father, who's been locked up for 21 days. He knows his father's release is scheduled in 5 days, but there's always a chance the old man could bribe a guard for an early exit. That's precisely why he prepared those protective artifacts for his mother, just in case things go south. The next morning, he stands resolute, realizing he can't just run away to train. He has to settle this family business for good. With his mind set on confronting his father, our boy spends the entire weekend grinding. He tears through multiple E rank and D rank hidden demon lairs, pushing himself to the absolute limit to close the gap. By Sunday evening, he emerges victorious, vowing that the next time he faces his old man, he'll be on a whole different level. Just as he levels up, a sudden system notification pings, catching him off guard. The next day at school, Teacher Huang gathers the class for a thrilling announcement. She reveals the final results for the assessment are in, and they are absolutely groundbreaking. Turns out, Bai Yi and Qi Yin didn't just ace the test, they took first and second place in the entire school, with Bai Yi's performance setting a new historical record. Qi Yin is completely flustered by the praise, but the teacher isn't done, announcing they've both earned a spot in the coveted training journey. But the real bombshell drops when she reveals that, thanks to Bai Yi, they'll also be granted an audience with the divines. The entire class is dumbfounded. An audience with the divines is an honor so rare that even high-ranking clerics can only dream of it. Bai Yi realizes this is an unexpected chance to meet the legendary divines face to face. His friends are completely overjoyed, with one tearfully begging him not to forget them when he makes it big. Another classmate just smiles proudly, saying he always knew our boy was destined for greatness. Meanwhile, in the dean's office, Hong Chang-sheng is being questioned about his own results. The dean, who is also his uncle, suggests he could easily use his father's influence to tag along on the training journey. But the very idea wounds his pride, and he clenches his fist in frustration. He flatly refuses, stating he only got third place and won't ride his father's coattails to the top. The dean is actually impressed, smirking that his nephew has finally shown some real backbone. But Hong Chang-sheng isn't done. He asks for something far more dangerous: access to the sealed D-rank demon lair. His uncle's expression darkens as Hong Chang-sheng declares with fiery resolve that he's going to get stronger on his own terms. Meanwhile, in the principal's office, another student named Xiling is practically begging his uncle for a spot. He desperately argues that he has to go on the training journey because he's the last heir of the Z family. But his uncle, Principal Zi Yongqing, is having none of it, scolding him for acting so impulsively when their bloodline is on the line. The principal gets straight to the point, demanding to know why Xiling pulled such a dirty move during the combat test. Turns out, this trash-tier senior powered up a demonic beast just to backstab the underclassmen, and now he's caught red-handed. The principal scoffs, asking if Xiling really thought the school's higher-ups were too dumb to see through his pathetic little scheme. An immense pressure crushes Xiling as his uncle reveals the only reason he wasn't expelled is because he personally covered it up. The sheer weight of his uncle's disappointment and power makes Xiling's legs give out from under him. He collapses to his knees, completely breaking down and apologizing profusely for his actions. With tears streaming down his face, he admits he was wrong, his pride utterly shattered. But the dean isn't here for apologies. With a glare that could kill, he commands his pathetic nephew to stand up. Xiling is still sweating bullets, completely terrified of his uncle's wrath. The dean reveals that Xiling's little stunt had an unintended side effect. It put our boy, Bai Yi, on the higher-ups' radar. Now, the top brass thinks something is seriously off about Bai Yi, and they're watching him closely. His growth curve is just too unnatural, so now someone from the legendary divines wants to meet him in person. The dean gives him one last chance. Xiling can go on the training journey, but if he causes any more trouble, he's on his own. Hearing this, Xiling's fear instantly vanishes, replaced by a smug grin as he eagerly agrees to the terms. He clenches his fist, already fantasizing about getting his revenge on Bai Yi during the trip. And his twisted ambition doesn't stop there. He's also dead set on making the captain, Anlei, his property. Later that day, another student is left dumbfounded, holding an invitation from the prestigious Ultimate Club. Turns out, that prestigious invitation is for none other than our boy, Bai Yi. The entire class is in an uproar. Joining the Ultimate Club is a free pass into the legendary Guild of the Gods. Students whisper in awe, recalling that the club was founded by the school's only golden rank assassin. They can't believe it. People fight tooth and nail for a spot, and a middle schooler just got a personal invite. One classmate is so overwhelmed with pride for Bai Yi that he's literally crying his eyes out. But Bai Yi just silently takes the invitation, his face giving away nothing. He then casually strolls over to the trash can at the front of the room, and in a move that leaves everyone speechless, he just drops the golden ticket right in the bin. The whole class erupts, screaming at him and calling him an idiot for rejecting the opportunity of a lifetime. Unfazed by the chaos, our boy simply announces he's leaving and walks straight out the door. While the rest of the class is still losing their minds, a few students approach the nerdy kid, completely dumbfounded by Bai Yi's actions. The bowl-cut student stares at the trashed invitation, lamenting the wasted opportunity of a lifetime. He turns to the nerdy student, demanding to know if he understands what Bai Yi was thinking, since they seem to know each other. The nerdy student calmly explains that Bai Yi isn't the type to join a group. He's a natural-born leader, not a follower. Meanwhile, our boy has already made his way to the mountain behind the school, far from the classroom drama. He thinks to himself that he's finally gained access to the D-rank demon lairs, a place no one dares to enter at night. Suddenly, Hong Chang-sheng appears from the shadows, his aura flaring as Bai Yi tells him it's time to go in. Bai Yi just gives a simple nod, ready to face whatever's inside without a shred of fear. But Hong Chang-sheng starts getting cold feet, arguing that a D-rank lair is too dangerous, only for Bai Yi to tell him to cut the crap. Our boy recalls their deal. Head teach Hong Chang-sheng practical combat techniques in exchange for access to the school's demon lairs. Hong Chang-sheng is absolutely floored, realizing our boy didn't just get access to one D-rank lair, but all of them. His training is off to a rough start as a massive beast sends him flying, proving he's way out of his league. Bai Yi casually offers help, but Hong Changsheng, full of pride, stubbornly tells him to get lost. Despite his tough talk, the monster immediately lunges for the kill, about to turn him into a midday snack. Turns out, Bai Yi is grinding this hard because he's hit a wall. He still can't enter the Tower of the Brave until he hits B rank. His gaze is locked on that single goal, and nothing else matters right now. Hess already wiped out every wild demon lair he could find, making the school's dungeons his only path to level up. The grind is real. After hitting D rank, EXP gain has slowed to a crawl, and he's been trashing every other invitation. Back in the present, Hong Changsheng is once again about to be eaten, facing down the monster's gaping maw. But in a flash of green light, Bai Yi appears out of nowhere, saving his ass and leaving him utterly dumbfounded. Hong Changsheng is furious that Bai Yi interfered, but our boy just calmly points out he'd be monster food otherwise, noting the nice EXP gain. Turns out, this whole mess happened right after Hong Changsheng thought he'd achieved a massive victory. He was celebrating finally hitting D rank all by himself, feeling on top of the world. But in a brutal twist of fate, a system window pops up for Bai Yi, announcing his advancement to C rank, completely eclipsing the other guy's achievement. With this new power-up, Bai Yi's mind is already locked on his father, feeling confident he can finally deal with him. Later that night, he gets home only to be playfully interrogated by his mother about whether he's been on a date. Bai Yi gets completely flustered, trying to brush it off by saying he's just a middle schooler. She keeps teasing him, wondering if he's just been messing around with his friends every night, but he can only deny it. His mom then gives him some heartfelt advice, telling him it's normal to like someone and that he should be brave enough to pursue them. But her final words about not waiting until you lose your chance and regret it later strike a deep, painful chord with our boy. His mother's words echo in his mind, forcing him to confront a painful memory of a girl he truly cared about. A vision of his past teammate, Yahello, flashes before his eyes, calling out his name with a bright smile. She was an L-rank golden lightning assassin, and she'd always greet him by demanding a hug after a tough fight. Our boy, ever the tsundere, would just get flustered and push her away, telling her there was no way. After another brutal battle where they wiped the floor with their enemies, the exhaustion finally set in. Yahello collapses to the ground, but she's still grinning, happy to report another victory to her captain. Bai Yi, with a rare smile, simply tells her it's time to move out, but she's not done teasing him yet, cheekily asking if he can carry her since she's too tired to walk. He gets all red-faced, telling her to get healed first, all while she pouts about him being so mean. But that playful memory shatters, replaced by the grim reality of him losing her on the battlefield, a regret that haunts him to this day. The memory of his failure sends a jolt of pure rage through him, a promise that he'll never let it happen again. He remembers meeting Yahello in his past life, a stray he picked up after being saved from death row himself. But in this new timeline, he has no clue where she is, and the thought of finding her feels like an impossible task. The worst part is, he's the only one who remembers their past. If they met now, they'd just be strangers. But across the city, a very much alive Yahello sits on her bed with a sly little smirk. Turns out, she's been keeping tabs on our boy, and holding an invitation, she thinks he's getting more and more interesting. In fact, she's now a Z-rank captain, and she decides she'll deliver that invitation to him personally tomorrow. Meanwhile, Bai Yi is lost in another memory, this time of his birthday, holding a gift he received long ago. A vision of his mother appears, her warm smile telling him that the gift is from her. The word present echoes in his mind, a simple word now loaded with the weight of 2 lifetimes. He finally opens the box, a relic from a life he can never get back. Inside, he finds a simple scarf, and the sight of it stops him cold. A note from his mother wishes him happiness, but he's just confused a scarf, right before summer? And then it hits him like a lightning bolt, a memory he'd long forgotten. He recalls asking her if she somehow knew he was heading to the treacherous Holy He Kingdom. She just smiled, explaining the temperature there was brutal and that he needed to stay warm. Our boy is left dumbfounded. She knew about his secret life and dangerous plans all along. In another memory, she gives him money for his birthday, telling him to go celebrate with his best friends. But a lonely Bai Yi could only mumble that he didn't have any friends to treat. The painful memories fade as he finds himself back in the present, standing before the academy. Suddenly, a flashy water mage figurine appears on his desk, a gift from a classmate. Bai Yi is completely baffled, wondering what on earth this is. The bowl-cut student proudly announces it's his birthday present, gushing about how it's his favorite model. But another friend, a nerdy kid in overalls, scoffs that the gift is tacky and tells Bai Yi to check his out instead. He slides over a small case, boasting that it's a rare item that's hard to find these days. Our boy opens it and freezes. It's the soundtrack to his favorite movie from his past life. the prestige. The gift triggers a flood of memories. He recalls sneaking off with this same friend to watch banned prehistoric films. His friend leans in, whispering a warning to hide it well so the teachers don't find it. Touched by the gesture, Bai Yi carefully slides the precious gift into his desk drawer. He turns back with a genuine smile, finally feeling a real connection as he thanks his old friend. The nerdy friend just smirks, proud of his thoughtful and unique gift. But the moment is interrupted when a girl with pink hair, Chi Yin, walks right up to our boy's desk. With a bright smile, she wishes him a happy birthday and hands him a sleek, professional-looking gift box. As Bai Yi opens it, his two friends' eyes practically pop out of their skulls, absolutely losing their minds. Inside is a glowing, multicolored gem, an unidentified A-rank mage weapon, a transmutation gem. Our boy is completely dumbfounded. This is a treasure far beyond anything he could have imagined. He immediately tries to refuse, pushing the box back and insisting that a gift this valuable is just too much. But Chi Yin just smiles, saying that if it weren't for him, she wouldn't have even made it on the training journey, adding that her family has plenty of them anyway. She firmly pushes the gift back, telling him it should be a big help for him right now. Bai Yi pauses, his mind racing. She's right, he desperately needs to get stronger, and he has no reason to refuse this power-up. Our boy realizes she must have noticed his trash-tier weapon from before. He's stunned by how thoughtful she actually is. He's completely floored by their kindness. He was planning on just leaving this place, but they actually remembered his birthday. Meanwhile, his two buddies start whispering, wondering when Bai Yi and Chi Yin got so close, even questioning if he's into girls. Chi Yin overhears their ridiculous gossip, but Bai Yi is lost in thought, reminding himself not to form any bonds here. But despite his own warnings, he turns to the group and suggests they all grab dinner together tonight. With a rare, genuine smile, he declares that it's his treat and asks if they're free. His friends absolutely explode with excitement, cheering wildly at the invitation. But the celebration is cut short as Bai Yi spots a group of high schoolers lurking by their classroom door. His guard immediately goes up, his eyes narrowing as he realizes they're heading straight for them. The classroom starts buzzing with rumors. The captain of the elite school squad is here to personally recruit Bai Yi. With a sigh, our boy decides it's better to refuse their offer face to face and gets up to meet them. His friends can't believe their luck, thinking they're about to witness another legendary showdown. The entire school is in an uproar, with students packing the balconies to get a glimpse of the action. Down the hall, the elite seniors wait. One of them, Xiling, looking particularly unimpressed. He scoffs internally, disgusted that this cocky brat Bai Yi is getting so much attention. Even the top dogs are here, the calm and collected vice captain, and the squad's captain, Lei, herself. Bai Yi finally rounds the corner, his expression cold and unreadable as he approaches the group. But before a single word is spoken, golden lightning erupts from nowhere, zapping the senior students. Even Bai Yi is completely dumbfounded. This power isn't his, and he has no idea what's happening. The golden arcs of electricity intensify, converging down the hallway like a guided missile. The golden electricity slams down with the force of a thunderbolt. Our boy Bai Yi stands right in the middle of the chaos, completely unfazed. Meanwhile, the senior students are getting absolutely cooked, screaming as the lightning engulfs them. But Bai Yi knows the truth. This entire flashy light show was just a feint. In the split second of confusion, he summons a dagger cloaked in a sickly green aura. Now armed, he surges with his own power, ready to make his real move. He vanishes in a blur, moving faster than the eye can track through the storm. His mind is already locked on, pinpointing his target's exact location in the chaos. With a vicious spin, he unleashes a devastating slash on the unsuspecting seniors. They're sent flying, completely baffled by his insane speed, and wondering what in the world just hit them. But the source of the lightning wasn't the seniors, it was a woman crackling with an insane amount of golden energy. Our boy is completely blindsided, realizing he misjudged the entire situation. Still, his instincts are S-tier, as he deflects a lightning-fast slash aimed right for him. The woman just smirks, impressed by his reaction, and confirming she didn't pick the wrong guy. Bai Yi is just left staring, wondering who the hell this monster of a student is. Her playful yet deadly vibe suddenly triggers a painful memory of a fallen comrade, He Li. In his past life, she'd always act cute after a battle, asking him to carry her. He remembers her reaching out, completely unbothered by her injuries. He'd always brush her off, telling her to get healed first, which only made her pout and call him mean. Back in the present, the captain, Lei, reveals she came personally because he'd been ignoring her recruitment invitations. The crowd of onlookers can't believe what they're seeing, totally baffled by the tense standoff. Some of them start whispering, convinced our boy is about to make a fool of himself by rejecting the captain. She just smirks, extending a hand to formally introduce herself as Anla. But in a move that floors everyone, she drapes her jacket over him and yanks him into a hug. Even Chi Yin, who's been watching quietly, is completely taken aback by this sudden development. The smug senior Xiling is absolutely seething, his face twisting in pure rage and jealousy. As she holds him, she whispers a name that completely shatters his reality. He, Li. A tidal wave of emotion hits Bai Yi as he realizes his fallen comrade is somehow alive, whispering that it's been too long. The entire hallway is stunned into silence as the two are suddenly enveloped in a swirl of golden lightning. He Lei pulls back, her playful demeanor vanishing, replaced by a look of stone-cold seriousness. The students witnessing this are absolutely losing their minds, gossiping that this is some kind of forbidden romance. Turns out the gossip is only half right. One of the students clarifies that Healy is actually their age, a prodigy who skipped grades after awakening early. Even Chi Yin, who's been watching from the sidelines, is completely dumbfounded by this whole situation. As the golden lightning finally fades, our boy is left trying to process the impossible reality before him. He's still reeling from the shock, barely able to comprehend that his fallen comrade is standing right here. He Lei just smirks, poking him with a crackle of lightning and asking if his emotional reunion hug means he accepts her invitation. She's got this look of pure confidence, pressing him for an answer now that she's completely shattered his worldview. She lays out the perks of her offer. The elite squad gets the best resources and funding, a fast track to power they could walk together. Bai Yi stands there in dead silence, the weight of her words and her very existence crashing down on him. But with a look of cold resolve, he flatly refuses, telling her he won't be joining since he has no plans to stay at this school for long. He clenches his fist, not out of anger, but with the weight of a new declaration. Instead of joining her, our boy drops a bombshell he'll be starting his own guild soon, and he seals the deal with a handshake. He gives her a confident smirk, promising that when the time comes, they'll have the chance to fight side by side as equals. Suddenly, the ultimate campus vice captain rushes over in a panic, completely baffled to see He Le just standing there. He quickly explains that Captain Hong is back on campus, and the principal wants their entire squad to greet him immediately. He Le turns back to Bai Yi, telling him they'll meet again during the upcoming training pilgrimage. With a sly look, she promises they can have a proper chat then, leaving him hanging. Bai Yi watches her go, his mind racing, determined to find out why she greeted him like an old friend. As she walks away, he's left alone to process this insane turn of events. But they weren't entirely alone. Xiling, the smug senior, is watching from a distance, his face twisted in pure, unadulterated rage. The students are absolutely dumbfounded, gossiping about how our boy rejected the elite squad's captain and invited her to his own guild instead. They think he's just a kid bragging, especially since starting a guild costs a fortune, but they can't deny he got the highest score in history. As Hila walks away without even rejecting his insane offer, Bai Yi reflects on how he never could have imagined meeting her like this. This whole encounter has thrown him for a loop, forcing him to reconsider everything he thought he knew about this timeline. He remembers his past life, how everyone in their divine guild kept their personal histories a complete secret from one another. So the thought that she, the legendary Golden Lightning Assassin, would be in the same middle school as him is just mind-boggling. A small smile creeps onto his face as he decides to just call it a pleasant birthday surprise. Later that day, on June 5th, Bai Yi and his friends are kicking back at a local BBQ joint. His nerdy friend tries to blame the other for picking the spot, but gets called out for just recommending the place Bai Yi wanted to go to. As they cook the meat, the nerdy student cuts through the chatter, asking Bai Yi if he was actually serious about starting his own guild. Chi Yin chimes in, reminding Bai Yi that he said he wasn't planning on staying here for long. Our boy casually confirms that after the pilgrimage, he's planning to stay in the Shenge Nation for good. His friends are dumbfounded, immediately jumping to the conclusion that he's dropping out of high school, but Bai Yi shuts that down, revealing his real, insane ambition to apply to the Divine Soldier Academy. The scene cuts to the extravagant Kaiban Hotel, where a seriously high-stakes meeting is about to take place. A sleek sports car pulls up, greeted by a full entourage of men in black, all standing at attention. A subordinate respectfully opens the way, addressing the unseen figure as Chief Hong. Stepping out of the shadows is Hong Bing, the head chief of a divine guild, a man who just oozes authority. The moment he walks into the banquet hall, the entire place goes dead silent, all eyes on him. Even his own man looks a bit stressed, feeling the immense pressure his boss radiates. But standing off to the side, a guild vice captain and his subordinate spot a familiar, unwelcome face. Bai Yi's father, Bai Lingsheng. The vice captain is dumbfounded, wondering how he's here when he's supposed to be locked up for another 2 weeks. He can't believe his eyes, questioning how Bai Lingsheng managed to get out of jail early. The redhead just smirks, explaining that a little extra cash greased the right wheels and got the captain's approval. The vice captain is seething, barely able to contain his rage at this blatant corruption. He furiously points at Bai Lingsheng, demanding to know why this disgraced member was brought to Chief Hong's private party. His subordinate calmly explains that since Bai Lingsheng was kicked out, this is his one shot to try and get back in. And to prove his worth, he brought a peace offering, a box full of valuable ghost crystals from a labyrinth. But Hong Bing isn't having any of it, smashing the crystals to the ground and roaring for him to get lost. He coldly towers over the pathetic man, reminding him that the Divine Guild has booked this entire place, and he is not welcome. Hong Bing rages, questioning what would happen if an outsider like him leaked military secrets. Even his own subordinates are stunned by the sheer ferocity of their chief's reaction. Bai Lingsheng desperately scrambles on the floor, pleading for the chief to just listen to his explanation. But his words are cut short as he slammed face first into the ground. He's sent flying back, the force of the blow knocking the air right out of him. Hong Bing grabs him by the collar, sneering and asking what right a piece of trash has to buy a position from him. He then scatters the crystals, telling him to take his useless junk and get out of his sight. With Bai Lingsheng thrown to the ground, Hong Bing declares that this dog is never to be allowed in the guild again. Humiliated and broken, Bai Lingsheng can only muster a final curse under his breath. But before he can even finish the thought, a foot stomps his face into the pavement, silencing him for good. Lying in his own blood, Bai Lingsheng's mind finally snaps, vowing to kill every last person who looked down on him. The subordinate can only stare, dumbfounded, as a terrifying red aura of pure rage erupts from the broken man. Stumbling away from the guild, his mind repeats one thing over and over. How dare that trash, tier chief, humiliate him. His sanity shatters completely as he screams internally, promising to murder everyone, since nothing is going his way. And just as his murderous intent reaches its absolute peak, his wife happens to be opening the door to their home. He arrives back at his apartment, the dark energy of his hatred swirling around him like a shroud. His wife's eyes go wide with terror as she sees the bloodied, monstrous state her husband is in. But instead of calming down, a twisted smile forms on Bai Lingsheng's face. He thinks this is just his lucky day. She drops her groceries in pure shock as he looms over her, his murderous intent now chillingly clear. Meanwhile, completely oblivious to the tragedy unfolding at home, our boy Bai Yi walks into a barbecue shop for a meeting. Inside the restaurant, our boy immediately clocks the golden emblem of the Divine Guild. A group of their members, all wearing intimidating dark cloaks, walks right past his table. He takes a sip from his cup, silently watching the very same guild that just humiliated his father. His friend Chi Yin tries to cheer him up, telling him one day he'll be their colleague, or maybe even their boss. Another friend sadly calls it a farewell dinner, but Bai Yi confidently says it's not, promising he'll get into the academy too. As the guild members leave, a strange thought hits him. Today has been going way too smoothly. The nerdy friend breaks the tension, reminding everyone to forget all that because it's Bai Yi's birthday. But our boy can't shake the gut feeling that something is terribly, terribly wrong. His friends raise their glasses, ready to give a toast to the birthday boy. They all cheer, but the focus shifts to the red pendant around his neck, a gift from his mother. And just like that, the pendant triggers a horrifying vision of his mother clutching the very same gift in fear. We're thrown back in time to see her looking absolutely petrified, as if staring down a demon. That demon is his own father, Bai Wensheng, who looms over her radiating a murderous aura, accusing her of living a comfortable life. She scrambles backward in terror as he venomously asks which man she's relying on now. His eyes burn with pure hatred as he promises to make her remember everything very, very clearly. The absolute psycho cracks his knuckles, savoring her fear before he makes his move. But suddenly, he stops dead in his tracks, looking down at his own body in complete confusion. A mysterious, glowing bracelet has appeared on his arm, and he has no idea where it came from. His mother can only watch, her terror now mixed with shock at this bizarre turn of events. A moment later, her monstrous husband is screaming in agony, clutching his head as an unknown power tears him apart from the inside. His father's mind twists in rage, sneering that she must have sold herself to afford such a nice house. The monster roars that she's still a charmer as he throws a punch meant to end her right there. His fist, glowing with a murderous red aura, flies straight for her face with unstoppable force. But just as it's about to connect, a brilliant green light erupts from her wrist, blocking the fatal blow. The light coalesces, forming into the fearsome shape of a powerful summoned beast. Before he can even react, the summon's hand clamps down on his wrist, stopping him dead in his tracks. Her husband is completely dumbfounded, unable to process how his attack was just effortlessly blocked. Turns out it's not one, but two D-class summoned beasts, who vow to protect their new master to the death. The mother is stunned, realizing this life-saving power came from the Mother's Day gift Bai Yi gave her. A flashback reveals our boy's foresight, telling her to wear it at all times when he wasn't around to protect her. The twin golems don't give him a second to breathe, immediately going on the offensive. Si Wuming, the purple beast, lands a devastating blow that sends the father flying backwards. He tries to counterattack, but the two D-class summons are perfectly in sync, overwhelming him with their teamwork. Another brutal punch connects, and it's clear he's completely outmatched by these guardians. He's sent skidding across the ground, bloodied but far from beaten. A maniacal grin spreads across his face, as he decides this is the perfect opportunity to unleash his pent-up rage. Crackling with a murderous red aura, he powers up, ready to show these summons what a real class warrior can do. Meanwhile, miles away, Bai Yi is just trying to enjoy a nice meal with Qi Yin and his friends. But suddenly, he feels a strange sensation from the pendant around his neck. Realizing something is terribly wrong, he abruptly stands up, telling his confused friends that he has something urgent to take care of. He tells them he'll be right back, leaving his friends utterly dumbfounded by his sudden exit. Once outside, our boy immediately calls Hong Changsheng, who drops a bombshell. Bai Yi's father was released from prison early. Hong Changsheng continues, explaining the old man crashed his dad's banquet and got thrown out. The real kicker? They lost track of his father right after he left the hotel, and a cold dread starts to creep into Bai Yi's heart. Just as he's processing the news, he gets an incoming video call from his mom, but the call won't connect, and he realizes with horror that the hotel his father left is right next to the apartment he rented for her. The pieces click into place. If his enraged father found his mother, she's in mortal danger. Without a second to waste, he grabs the nearest set of wheels he can find. He takes off like a bat out of hell, pedaling furiously to get back to his mom before it's too late. Our boy's heart sinks. He left the Wuming brothers to protect his mom, but he knows they might not be strong enough. Turns out, his fears were spot on. His father has already crushed Si Wuming, sneering that he expected a real fight. The other golem, Ye Wuming, desperately stands guard, telling Bai Yi's terrified mother to stay behind it. But Bai Wensheng is completely unhinged, a look of pure, murderous insanity in his eyes. He lunges at the second guardian, slamming it to the ground before it can even react. The enraged class warrior just scoffs, dismissing the loyal golem as nothing but an annoying obstacle. He grabs its head, his hand crackling with destructive red lightning, ready to end this. With a furious roar, he unleashes his power, completely obliterating the D-class summoned beast. His mother can only watch in frozen horror as the last of her protection is turned to dust. With a twisted grin, Bai Wensheng turns his blade on his wife, declaring that it's her turn now. But just as her husband descends, wreathed in a murderous red aura, the fallen golem begins to stir. Turns out, the D-class lord isn't down for the count just yet, its body reforming with a surge of green energy. With its last ounce of strength, the loyal guardian Ye Wuming grabs its master, screaming at her to run for her life. It throws itself in front of the descending madman, creating a wall of vines and telling her not to look back. Bai Yi's mother is completely shattered, realizing the golem is sacrificing itself just to buy her a few seconds. Heeding its final command, she turns and sprints away, tears streaming down her face. But the golem's desperate defense is nothing more than a paper shield against the class warrior's power. Bai Wensheng's destructive lightning tears through the vines like they're nothing. With a psychotic grin, he grabs the golem's head and rips its body apart with his bare hands. She glances back in horror to see her last protector obliterated, as her husband's voice taunts her, asking if she really thinks she can run. She's completely cornered, the madman's blood-red aura flooding the entire street. Bai Wensheng materializes before her, his eyes glowing with psychotic rage as he asks where she could possibly run. She's frozen in terror, unable to utter a single word as he taunts her again. Mustering her last bit of courage, she slaps him hard across the face in a final act of defiance. Unfazed, he grabs the jade pendant from her neck, snarling as he asks if that dog gave it to her too. With a guttural roar, he crushes the precious memento into 1,000 pieces. Her eyes widen in horror. That was her last sliver of hope, now turned to dust. His sanity completely gone, Bai Wensheng pulls out a knife, ready to finish the job. In that split second, she remembers a promise. If she was ever in danger, crushing the pendant would summon help. Suddenly, our boy Bai Yi appears out of thin air, grabbing the blade just before it reaches his mother's face. His mother is completely stunned, unable to process that her son just appeared from nowhere. But Bai Wensheng is just filled with pure, unadulterated rage at being interrupted. Our boy's eyes are like daggers as he declares that this cycle of abuse ends tonight. The confrontation triggers a traumatic memory, showing a young Bai Yi screaming for his father to stop hitting his mom. He was just a helpless kid, tied to a chair and forced to watch his father brutally beat his mother with a wooden plank. The monster just kept ranting about how hard he worked while bringing the weapon down again and again. The horrific scene is reflected in the young boy's tear-filled eyes as he begs for it to end. His desperate pleas are completely ignored as the plank finally shatters from the sheer force of the blows. All he can do is cry out in absolute anguish, his heart breaking with every strike. The memory fades on the image of his mother, broken and bleeding on the cold, hard floor. It all started because his mom took him to an amusement park and forgot to tell the old man they'd be home late. Turns out, his father had failed to find a job that day, and he decided to take all that pathetic anger out on his family. With his eyes glowing red, the monster in his heart was completely unleashed. The sheer force of our boy's grief and rage shatters the very chains binding him to the chair. He could only watch in horror as his father beat his mother to death right in front of him. That single moment of absolute despair cracked something deep inside his soul. The trauma was so profound that it triggered a second-class advancement, a phenomenon almost unheard of. His soul was reforged in the flames of tragedy, evolving his class into the legendary Nucleo Holy Swordsman. Having lost all control, the newly awakened boy turns his furious gaze upon his own father. He manifests chains of pure holy energy, binding the dumbfounded monster who just murdered his mother. In a fit of pure rage, the young boy strangles the life out of his own father, finally ending the monster's rampage. But his revenge is hollow. Even with his father dead, his mother is already gone, lying lifeless on the floor. The power he awakened came at the ultimate price, leaving him alone and weeping over his tragic victory. Snapping back to the present, our boy makes a solemn vow. This time, he will not be a single step too late. As the assassin strikes, he meets the blade with his bare fist, shattering the weapon into 1,000 pieces. The attacker is completely stunned, watching Bai Yi stand as an unbreakable shield in front of his mother. Suddenly, a flash of recognition hits the assassin, his eyes glowing with a sinister red energy as he realizes who he's facing. The scarred man grins like a maniac, deciding this is the perfect opportunity to kill both mother and son together. But our boy is more than ready, unsheathing his sword with a cold, unwavering gaze. The killer's desperate lunge is met with a perfect parry, deflecting the attack and leaving him wide open. The force of the parry sends the assassin skidding back, his hands raw and bleeding from the impact. He coughs up a mouthful of blood, completely dumbfounded by the kid's impossible strength. But then he sees the blade, realizing with a jolt of fury that it's the Kunwu blade, confirming our boy's identity. As his mother trembles in fear, two monstrous flora element beasts materialize behind her like loyal guardians. Bai Yi doesn't even flinch, commanding his D-class summons, the Wooming brothers, to get his mother to safety. The scarred man's rage turns into a twisted grin, realizing the kid isn't just a swordsman but a summoner too. He points accusingly, his mind blown that he's facing a 1-in-a-million dual elementalist. The assassin bursts into a fit of insane laughter, declaring that Bai Yi is truly the son of the legendary Bai Lingsheng. Our boy remains ice cold, his expression unchanging, utterly unimpressed by the villain's theatrics. But the killer sneers, saying that just inheriting his old man's talent won't be nearly enough to survive this. He starts listing our boy's supposed sins, like stealing from his father's safe and sending him to prison. With his aura flaring, he declares that none of these actions can ever be forgiven. The assassin screams, accusing Bai Yi of getting arrogant just because he's a dual elementalist. He unleashes a massive wave of destructive red energy, aiming to wipe them all out. Bai Yi's mother cries out a warning as the Wooming brothers move to protect her. But our boy doesn't even blink, calmly switching his class to Cloud Element Mage. His eyes narrow with icy determination, ready to end this. A colossal wall of razor-sharp ice erupts from the ground, completely dwarfing the assassin's attack. The killer is instantly trapped in the ice, his face a mask of pure shock and disbelief. He wonders if he's facing a dual-class user, but Bai Yi's cold stare makes it clear the answer is a hard no. With the assassin frozen solid, Bai Yi calmly explains that this trash-tier killer isn't worthy of knowing his secrets. He tells the man that his questions about classes are irrelevant, because as he is right now, he's nothing more than a bug. The killer is dumbfounded, then absolutely livid at being called worthless by some kid. He starts to laugh maniacally, thinking a little praise has made our boy arrogant. The assassin boasts that he's a battle-hardened C-rank veteran, far beyond a newly awakened rookie. With a massive burst of red energy, he shatters the ice prison, screaming that he's the one in charge here. But Bai Yi is already switching back to his Nucleo Holy Swordsman class, his blade flaring with green light. The assassin's punch flies, only to be met by the flat of Bai Yi's sword in a perfect block. Our boy holds him back without even flinching, proving the gap between them is bigger than the killer could ever imagine. With the assassin's punch stopped cold, Bai Yi counters with an armor-breaking strike, smashing his holy sword straight into the man's chest. The killer is completely dumbfounded, staring at the blade that just shredded through his defenses like they were nothing. He yanks the sword out, blood gushing from the wound, but the shock of the attack has already broken him. Collapsing to his knees, he demands to know how a supposed E-rank rookie could possess such overwhelming attack power. But our boy just looms over him, his eyes glowing with cold fury as he prepares to deliver the final judgment. He calmly informs the man that as of today, they are no longer father and son, and his mother will have nothing to do with him either. With ice in his veins, Bai Yi declares that the man before him, Bai Lingsheng, is now absolutely worthless in his eyes. His father just trembles on the ground, completely shattered by his son's words. But then, a broken, maniacal laugh starts to bubble up from the defeated man. He glares up with crazed eyes, trying to guilt-trip our boy by screaming about how he slaved away just to keep him and his mother alive. He roars that no matter what, our boy will always be his son, a fact he can never escape. Screaming that he's an ungrateful wretch, the trash-tier father lunges forward with a desperate punch. But Bai Yi dodges the telegraphed attack with zero effort, effortlessly vaulting over him. The pathetic man completely whiffs it, stumbling and crashing hard onto the floor. Before he can even push himself up, our boy has already closed the distance again. He tries to throw another wild swing, but Bai Yi catches his fist, stopping him dead in his tracks. The man is completely dumbfounded, his mind unable to process why his son is so overwhelmingly strong. With a single, brutal punch to the gut, Bai Yi sends him flying. The man still questioning how this is possible. He spits up blood, his brain short-circuiting. He's a C, rank red tier. This shouldn't be happening. Our boy grabs him by the hair, coldly asking if the words he spoke earlier just didn't sink in. With pure fury in his eyes, Bai Yi screams that his father is no match for him. He's flooded with memories of the constant abuse, remembering how his father used violence to cope with his own failures. The image of being beaten and called a spineless piece of trash is burned into his mind. Now, the roles are reversed, and our boy throws those exact same words back in his father's bloodied face. He declares the man isn't even fit to be called human, and lands another devastating blow. But a vision of his horrified mother flashes before his eyes, her voice calling out his name. On the ground, his father sees his chance and weakly pleads for him to stop. He tries to pull the family card, shamelessly reminding Bai Yi that he's the one who raised him. Hearing that pathetic excuse just makes something inside our boy completely snap. He grabs him by the collar, absolutely dumbfounded that this trash would dare mention family ties now of all times. Our boy roars, asking where these family ties were when his father was beating them mercilessly. He flashes back to being 7 years old, getting dragged by the ear until he cried. The memory gets worse as he recalls being slammed against the wall over and over again. He remembers begging for his father to stop while his horrified mother could only watch. But his pleas were useless, and the monster even turned on his mother, viciously tearing her ear. The trauma floods back a lifetime of random beatings, and never knowing a single day of peace. His aura flares with righteous fury as he asks the man if he truly thinks he's worthy of family. His father lies broken in a crater, utterly defeated by the weight of his own sins. For a moment, the man is completely still, the silence speaking volumes. Then, with the last of his strength, Bai Wensheng lifts his head and tries to stammer out an apology. He begs that he was wrong, promising he'll never do it again, his voice filled with pathetic desperation. The man keeps stammering out apologies, but our boy just stares down at him, his expression unreadable. Bai Yi isn't buying it for a second, recalling how his father pulled this exact same stunt last time. The memory is crystal clear. The moment his father realized he was outmatched, he fell to his knees and groveled. But just when Bai Yi let his guard down, thinking the repentance was real, the monster lunged at him with a knife. Not this time. Adrenaline surges through him as he summons his blade, ready to end this cycle for good. His eyes burn with cold fury. He knows that those who've tasted blood will never willingly put down their weapon. A flicker of pure terror crosses his father's face as he realizes there's no talking his way out of this one. Bai Yi channels his power, preparing to unleash the devastating first form of his ultimate skill, Sanctuary Evolution. But just as he's about to strike, a vision of his mother appears, her voice screaming his name in horror. His mother's voice fades as our boy comes to a cold, hard realization. Trying to make a sinner feel remorse is a waste of time. It's far better to ensure that trash-tier monster never gets the chance to hurt anyone ever again. With that thought, he unleashes a blindingly fast strike, shredding through his father's limbs in a brutal flash. The attack wasn't fatal, but it was crippling. His father collapses, screaming that Bai Yi severed his tendons. Now just a pathetic mess on the floor, the man starts desperately pleading for his life, trying to calm his son down. But hearing the words were father and son only seems to harden Bai Yi's resolve, his eyes burning with disgust. Instead of his sword, he summons a completely different power, a shard of pure, crackling ice. He launches it forward, freezing his father's mouth shut to finally silence the pathetic groveling. Bai Yi raises his hand, remembering that he already killed this monster once in his past life and feels zero regret about doing it again. But just as he's about to deliver the final blow, a familiar voice rings out, telling him to stop, and our boy is completely dumbfounded. He freezes. Completely thrown off, he recognizes that gentle, female voice from his past. A vision of his mother appears, held by his golem Ye Wuming, who is somehow channeling her voice to him. She pleads with him, begging him not to become a monster just like the man he's about to kill. Looking down at his crippled father, he hears his mother explain that the man has already lost everything he ever took pride in. She argues that forcing him to live every day in bitter regret is a far greater punishment than a quick death. Our boy is torn, trying to protest that this trash deserves to die, but her words are shaking his resolve. With a pained expression, his mother tells him she doesn't want to witness him walking down such a dark path. A vision shows two versions of himself, one calm, the other a blood-soaked killer, as she says that's not the future she wants for him. She doesn't want him to live his life in the shadows, trapped by his own hatred. The vision ends on a chilling image of a younger him, shackled in a prison cell, a grim future waiting if he chooses revenge. Her words finally break through, and with a heavy heart, our boy tells his mother that he understands. Standing over his father's broken body, he declares he won't kill him, but he'll make damn sure he never returns. He decides to use a brutal ability from his past life, one that's far crueler than a simple death. It's the second form, Judgment, a technique that permanently strips an opponent of all their mana. With cold, glowing eyes, he unleashes the full might of his accumulated power. A torrent of golden energy rips through his father, and a system alert confirms it. Awakened power, lost forever. He coldly informs the man on the ground that he has just stripped him of his power, making him a nobody. The first condition is laid out. Leave the city by tomorrow and stay away from his mother for good. For the second condition, he has his golems memorize the man's scent, warning him they'll be watching. His final threat is chillingly clear. If his father ever comes within 3 kilometers of her again, he will kill him, even if it means life in prison. Broken and powerless on the floor, his father can only stammer in defeat. With his spirit crushed, the man finally whispers his understanding into the cold night air. The conflict is over, leaving only a quiet stillness around the apartment building. Back inside, Bai Yi has his 2 D-rank golems standing guard, demanding they heal his mother. One of the golems, bizarrely wearing an apron, confirms that the trash-tier father never even touched her. Our boy kneels, just thankful he made it in time, as his mother gently reassures him. She gives him a warm smile, insisting that she's perfectly fine and he shouldn't worry. But he knows better, thinking to himself that he must find her a new protective jade pendant immediately. His eyes suddenly fly open in shock as he realizes he just said that thought out loud. His mother is left dumbfounded, questioning what he just blurted out about a jade pendant. They both freeze in disbelief, realizing his mother just spoke for the first time in years. Bai Yi can't help but grin, confirming it wasn't telepathy, she actually spoke out loud. His mother is utterly dumbfounded, but one of the golems chimes in, explaining it simply healed some old nerve damage. The scene shifts as the golems question their master's resolve, asking if he truly intends to leave. They remind him that his mother and friends are all here, wondering if he can just abandon this life. But our boy's mind is made up. He's already paid the rent and prepared a new jade pendant to protect his mom. For all other times, he's entrusting her safety to his 2 new D-rank guardians. Back in reality, the scene is absurdly wholesome as the golems help his mom cook dinner. She thinks her son is just leaving on a journey to grow stronger, completely unaware of the truth. But he's no longer the boy she remembers. He's a man on a mission for vengeance, and his target is finally within reach. The face of his nemesis, the traitor gardener, flashes in his mind, the man he's sworn to destroy. He clutches the invitation to the Gods Guild, knowing this is his ticket to reach his target's kingdom far faster than in his past life. But as he watches his mother from afar, he admits to himself this is a suicide mission he may not survive. He sees this as a one-way ticket, a grim journey he has no choice but to embark on. Suddenly, his mother snaps him out of his dark thoughts, realizing she's forgotten what time it is. She excitedly announces it's time for the blessing ceremony, an annual event held by the Flower God Temple's high priest. Our boy remembers his mom is a devout follower and is hit with a wave of guilt he hasn't told her he's leaving tomorrow. Seeing her so happy, he decides it's better to just slip away quietly, without a painful farewell. After all, he thinks to himself, he's never been any good at saying goodbye.